Hello? Test. 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 Test, test, test. Hello. Sound. Putting out so often. Hello, Skull. Test. Test. Cutting out. Test. Voice keep cutting out. Filters don't like me. Hello? Maybe it's because I'm quiet. You know, gotta whisper. There we go. There's the tests. I think some of them anyway. There's also this one do. Oh. What does this button do? I say as I ask myself. The button I just programmed the other day. Oh, thank you, Nightbot. Run away. Main screen. Run away. It's nighttime. That things happen at nighttime. You never trust the dark. Just like you can't trust birch trees and giant monsters and flying squirrels and little green monsters. You know. Hello, Cranier. How are you doing today? Still today. That's good. Oh, can you delete the message from Nightbot, please? You're not. Saber. Can you guys hear me okay? Apparently not. My mic is not working. Very nice to me. It's not being very nice to me today. Am I cutting out when I'm talking? You know what? I should have a button for can you hear me? So I can answer the chat. Let's see. Cape style. I win the prize. Look at that. I'm gonna feel lucky. You playing Minecraft? Ultimate question. The greatest question of our time. Rank Cerberus. No, I'm looking at Cerberus. We playing Minecraft today? Test voice. Watching my output on my OBS. Okay, I think we're ready. Turn around with your head cut off. I'm gonna do lots of things today. I'll do a little bit of everything, you know? This, that, and this, and playing Hatter Skyblock. I heard that's a lot of fun. Cbones was telling me about it. I watched Malenko die a million times. That was a lot of fun. Not him dying all the time, but getting to see the game generate new areas. Watching new islands split up. Getting to see mine shafts floating in the sky and stuff like that. Right, Sheepy? I need food. This is what I've noticed. When do I not need food is the real question, actually. I always need food. I could breed up my cows, my little moo-moos, but I don't have any wheat with me right now, so we're not going to kill them. Because if I kill them, I'm worried I'll never get more again. It tends to happen in Minecraft that whenever you need a mob, it never spawns. So it's best to have them in cold storage. You know how it is. Keep your cows in storage in a little hole in the ground. I do always need food. I am down to 4 little muttons. That's it. That's my entire life force right there, you know? Like Superman if he got stuck on a planet with a red sun. Feels weird not being on the computer. Are you on your phone? Eat rotten flesh. That doesn't sound as appetizing, though, you know? Unlike Malenko, I'm not a big fan of beef jerky. Piece of the day. What is it? I ate some Munster cheese sandwiches last. Not a very exciting sandwich. It's 2 pieces of Munster cheese and 2 pieces of bread. Usually white bread, which is like the most boring of all the breads. Okay. The bland, plain bread that you can buy anywhere in the United States and in most Western countries. But I upgraded today. I got a fancy bread, guys. I got a little honey wheat. It was actually really good. It's actually really good with grilled cheese as well. But I didn't eat grilled cheese because I was too lazy. You know, I gotta get out. Yeah, get out the grill, the girdle or whatever. No, that flat pan. You know, guys, know what I'm talking about. Probably maybe. You know that flat pan that you cook things on. It's square. Has a handle. Cast iron usually. That one, you know, that you cook grilled cheese on. Right? See, I'm making all this sense. So usually that's what I'll. You know what? Actually, I got a toaster oven that can cook sandwiches in it. So I can cook grilled cheese in a toaster. It does toast as well as grilled cheese. I kind of have to squish my grilled cheese a little bit, you know, like. I wish I could. Oh, I can. Wait, hold on. I can demonstrate in Minecraft like that. You know, squish it with your hands or with your spatula, and then you could put it inside the toaster oven and cook it as a sandwich, right? And eat it right there. The one problem is that all the cheese melts and falls to the bottom. And then I lose all the cheese, and that's a catastrophe. But anyway, the story, of course, ends with me saying that Munster cheese is the best cheese. That's what I put on my grilled cheese with my American cheese. You know, one slice of American cheese, one slice of Munster for a grilled cheese. But I said all of that just to say I didn't make grilled cheese. I just ate regular Munster cheese sandwiches, which is just 2 pieces of Munster and 2 pieces of bread. So, in a roundabout way of saying, I'm saying that the cheese of the day is Munster cheese. Because it's the only cheese you can eat, honestly. Perfect in every way. Don't doubt me. I'm the cheese master. Clearly, I am making grilled cheeses, right? No. I am a perfect grilled cheese connoisseur. I will not be insulted like this in my own stream. Hello, Alfie, and Dots Plots, and Snowy Horned Owl, and who else did we miss? Saber Crane. I did this at high. Hope your eyes are all feeling cheese-tastic today. I had to lower my mic threshold so it could actually hear me today, because I'm not going to be too loud. I've got a bit of a headache, so we're just going to run around and be a MrFearless, but a little quieter than you. Because I want to work on a number of projects today on the Bestville, which is where we are today. Ow! Just got bit by a bush. I'll work on a number of projects today and hopefully not die to bushes. That'll be bad. Try a panini press? I've heard of these things. Panini presses. I've also heard of toasty makers, but I don't know if I'm advanced enough for that. Toaster ovens are the best. I have baked cakes, lasagna, and such in them. Yes, exactly. See, Fond understands. He sees the truth. His eyes are wide open, just like my secret texture pack. You know, it opens your eyes really, really wide to the truth of... Oh, I do have texture. Yeah, I do have texture packs on. It's just I'm on a world, so it doesn't say it. I gotta show it off. The secret texture pack. This one here. No, this one here. This one. I'm actually gonna combine this crazy stuff pack and my regular pack. I didn't do that. I forgot. While I was working on this pack, getting it ready for that video that came out a week ago. But I'm gonna combine these, so then it'll eventually say Fond, MrFearless, Adder, and Metsboy. I haven't decided the order of the names though. I think I'm gonna put my name last. It already says my name there. It'll be like Fond, Adder, Metsboy, MrFearless. This one has my cat in it. And if we... Oh, yeah. I also wanted to say that before we go. A friend of mine named Neon... I don't think he watches streams because he has bad internet, but he helped me get a pack that allows me to quit my skins again. Okay, you guys may not know, but I was having the darndest time ever. It was a curse. A curse I could not escape from. I could not quit my skins. I have this lovely skin pack here, right? 28 skins, I think, because I can't fit all 30. I can't fit all, 40 of skins I have. So these are my skins that I have in this pack. And normally I'd go, yeah, I want this pack or this skin, right? But it wouldn't do it. It wouldn't show me the equip button. But once I equipped this weird pack that Neon gave me, it allows me to quit my skins for my skin pack again. So I can actually be MrFearless instead of Captain Cheesebeard. We are living high and mighty today, guys. You've put cakes in a toaster oven before? What kind of cakes? I'm curious. Fond, it's like, uh-oh. You make me talk again. Fond likes to lurk. Anyway, we're back on SlackVille. After I've interrupted myself for the 4th time in a row. I was going to say something. But then I forgot. It's okay, though. I'm sure I'll think about it sometime. Maybe after stream. Like, oh, darn. I was supposed to say that. Oh, yeah. Those things I was supposed to say. I didn't. at all, ever. Why say them when you can just think them and pretend you said them out loud, you know? That's my motto anyway, my philosophy in life. Time to lurk? Oh, you could activate the lurk monster. Good. Could I activate the lurks? Do I have a lurk button? Can I lurk at my own stream? Wait, guys, can I lurk at my own stream? That's a real question. I think I can, but I don't have a button for it. Normally I have buttons for it. Can't say I am. No, I don't have a button. I don't have a button to lurk at my own stream. ADHD incarnate. I really am. I am. I can't lurk at my own stream, guys. I'm sorry to say. There he goes. The lurk monster is taking another victim. Hopefully he'll be able to beat it and unlurk with success. One of the things we need to figure out how to do is how to repair my cape. I think that shouldn't be too bad. But there are not a lot of XP farms that currently work on SlackVille. So I could set one up, but I wouldn't even know where to start with it. So that's one of the things we're at the maybe going by horse is not a bad idea today. We'll go by horse to different places. So I want to work on a number of different projects here in SlackVille. We haven't been on here in such a long time. And normally I just place random blocks everywhere. So my plan is to not place blocks randomly, but this time place them on purpose. Because I actually like to decorate our little storage area here. One of the things I was thinking about doing today. I want to dig in through the ceiling and see how much room we have above us. Because I want to put an archway. Think of a beautiful archway going across our beautiful little storage area here in spawn. And then we could finally get this area looking snappy instead of looking pretty sad. Found all this excavated area for storage and all sorts of thingamabobs. No decorations. A lot of cactus, though. I really noticed that before. Why are there cactus down here? Why are there cactus in my basement, guys? What does it mean? If we break one, it'll tell us. I knew it. The Cactus Mafia, they're back. Or maybe, better put, I found them again. Because they've been here the whole time. I hear a slime. We're going to have to fill all those spots in so we don't hear those slimy guys jumping around anywhere. But, I'm going to need some scaffolding in order to go up to the roof. I know. Scaffolding, the cursed block. But sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for success. Like taking a nap before the squirrels come out. You know how it is, guys. You stay up too late, the evil night squirrels come and try to harvest your soul. It's unfortunate, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, like taking naps. I think we have a bed upstairs as well. Upstairs is so far away, you know? You climb out the wall every time I try to go out the door. I climb up the wall in the vines. That's something else we gotta do. We gotta decorate our entryway in our house. I know this house is like 20,000 years old. Practically ancient. But I want to finish the inside of it. We stopped working on it because we're not working on mega projects. And I was waiting for something to happen in Spawn, but nothing has ever happened, so. We have a number of rooms decorated. This room being one. I've always wanted to make this a sunroom. Sit and have some fun kind of room. Maybe some gaming systems. We can put my computer in there. Then we could play Minecraft in Minecraft on a server in Minecraft. And we also want to decorate the upstairs. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look-see, you know? Take stock of what we have. We got this beautiful staircase made of mozzarella. This is a little bedroom we have. Decorated. It doesn't even have a ceiling. We have this big aquarium. You know what? That's an adventure we need to put on the list of things to do. I would love to build an aquarium full of dolphins. And the truth is, we did have a dolphin a long time ago, but he went and met the big server in the sky. The big sea world in the sky. Never came back. Never was the same again. And since then, we've been dolphinless in our aquarium. So we might have to go on a long adventure to go to the ocean and bring a dolphin here. We tried that once. I think we could do it again. Not this room. I believe I was planning on building a second floor in here as well. Got space. Evil squirrels does sound like a problem. Terrible. Especially the flying kind, you know? They coming at you like a wrecking ball, like Miley Cyrus. Then shivers down your spine. Oh yeah, we could even build a second floor here. I think that was my plan anyway. This area will be cut off, but these two areas could be separated into more rooms. Even got, A bed in there? Apparently? I have a bed over there? How do you even get over there? Hiding in the corner. MrFearless hide and seek. Oh, there's a bed in here? One more tower. I forgot. There's way more tower to go up. Of course. Oh, this place has got lots of things to do. I thought it was like only 1 or 2 rooms to fill in. But yeah, plenty of space to decorate. We could go all the way up in the tower. We could look all over spawn. CT's base or all the destroyed farms. There's honestly not much here to look at anymore. But we got lots to do. Lots of things to decorate. One of these days, I think I want to build an XP farm. If no one else gets to it first, that'll be my next big project. Just so I don't end up dying of all sorts of terrible reasons. Like falling out of the sky. That would suck. So, let's see. We want to build a arch in here. Enough jibber jabber. Get the building. I want to build an arch in here. So we're going to need some scaffolding. As I said 5 minutes ago before I distracted myself for the 6th time through the stream. I need scaffolding. And I know I have a lot of it, but I just don't know where. Story of my life on SlackVille. I have so many chests, so many things. Don't know where anything is. I could have every block of the game at my fingertips. And they're all just out of reach. Not the mozzarella, though. I got plenty of that, apparently. You know how it is, guys. Plenty of mozzarella when you need. You know, you guys are experts in mozzarella. Of quartz. See, because it's quartz. Of quartz. That don't make sense. Unlike these chests, which don't make sense whatsoever. Scaffolding, but only 4 blocks. I got excited. Perhaps I should. No, wait. We have 19 blocks now. Look at that. We're going up in the world. We could find something closer to a stack. Oh, look at that. 64 plus 15 block. Stack plus some more. So I think we can move the ceiling. And what we're going to do, we're going to stab the ceiling. Whenever you go into your basement, remember to stab the ceiling. That. What is this? Where am I? What is this place? Where have I gone? Why is the floor black? Okay, I think I found out. I found what we're looking at. Guys, we've broken into the most secure place on SlackVille. Most dangerous place. The cheese cave. We found the cheese cave. Accidentally. We're breaking through it. I guess that limits how far we can dig up, huh? We're over here at the other end. Can't dig through it now. The scaffolding's in the way. I thought I had a lot less room. I've been under the impression for years that we only had a couple blocks of space here, that the ceiling was right there. It's not. I mean, it kind of makes sense. We do live in a mountain. The cheese cave? What is this? What is this? What are we looking at? No, that's not the cheese cave. That's the mine. Where am I? Where does this go? Does it go anywhere important? If it doesn't go anywhere important, we could fill it in. How do I get back? Uh-oh. How do I get back? Uh-oh, I've lost myself. More digging? This cave's big. Why do caves gotta be so big? I mean, they're a lot bigger now. This is an old cave. Old cave trademark. They don't make them like this anymore, quite literally. Found the cheese cave again. I think. What is this? Pizzas? Tacos? Why are they out in the open? Are they supposed to be buried or something? There's an ender chest. I've discovered a whole new world. There's emeralds? Emerald blocks? What is it? A beacon? beacon that doesn't have any effects on it. Whose beacon is this? What does this do? Oh, I see. Where'd that block go? There. Yeah, that's block. This is one of Hatter's thingamabombs. Okay. He broke in the cheese cave. Maybe he probably didn't even know it. Just like me. Oh, I broke it in my own cheese. Now, how do we leave the cheese cave? Why is this a maze that has no exits? Yeah, it's very lit down here. It's very lit, fam. Being lit, fam, isn't exactly an escape route. An ender chest. My ender chest, actually. I placed it there, but... Staircase? Maybe this is way out. Civilization? Hello? Yes. Civilization. Okay. Lost, that's all. This is our own SlackVille server tour. I did one such a long time ago, and Hannah did one the other day. What do you think, guys? Should I start a series up on SlackVille again? I did only 1 or 2 episodes before in the past because I got really busy and became prohibitively costly to make videos for my streams. But I'm interested in doing it again, starting it up. Maybe a SlackVille Season 2, but only spiritually, because the world really hasn't changed. I've asked this before in the last stream, but we were on a different server last time. If you can do a thing, you know? You guys know. You're expert. You know all the things. A poll. I need to do /poll, I think. Well, this time it was perfectly evenly split on whether should I do a server. I mean, a stream on this. Oh, not a search. A let's play. SlackVille. Question mark? That's how you know it's serious, because that's a question mark at the end. Oh, it started. We'll see if we get more than 2 answers to the time. SlackVille, let's play. Yes, no. Vote now. In the poll. It's on the screen. Probably. It might be on the screen. If I remember correctly, polls were broken on mobile years ago. Back in the day. I don't know if they ever fixed it. Probably not. I give it love to a feature that's underutilized. Or it's about to be anyway. I think something's gone wrong. Guys, what's happened? I can't see. Oh no. What is this? Look on this stream. Oh no. No. Which direction am I facing? Oh no. Oh no, I broke it. I turned it off, we'll fix it. Okay, I guess I'm looking that way. What happened? Okay. Is that gonna happen again? Green. You get everything green. Yeah, a block outlines. That's a block. I break. Speed? Break. I had to log out of the server. I broke grass. Did I break wheat? Not wheat over here. Did I get transported to another dimension? I think I did. Unfortunately. Not the good kind of dimension either. The weird green-blue dimension. The poll is here for you on mobile. 3 people have voted yes. Nobody's voted no. I'm gonna try to jump on SnackVille again and then enable RTX. I wanted to see the sunset in RTX. Nighttime now, so we're not gonna see the sunset, but okay, there we go. No weird blue-green colors. It made my head look worse for some reason. How beautiful RTX is. Color. The chicken cooker I always forget about. How long has this been here? I mean, of course I forget about it. It only's got 15 cooked chicken in it. How long has the server been up? And it's only got 15 cooked chicken? This server is like 3 years old now. 15 cooked chicken in all that time? That wouldn't even last me 10 seconds. Look at this. Oh, this red? It is my color, after all. Looks so nice in RTX. Okay, I guess we're gonna go back down to the basement. It's perfectly safe. We call it the murder basement, Jeff. Nothing bad's ever happened down here. Other than all the people who've disappeared and never come back. But we don't talk about them. Mostly because, you know, they're not alive anymore. So, this is where I broke into this weird cave formation. And I think we could easily fill this in with other blocks. In fact, let's go get some stone. Realized I forgot to redeem. I was going to do a Fearless Facts to redeem. That on my list. Unless I already did, and then I, you know. No, I didn't. What's it? Fearless Max team. Run back up the staircase. No, we don't need to run back up the staircase. There should be stone down here, right? Think of this, actually. Gravel. We don't need to grab some gravel. It'll grab us. Before we grab. I have a lot of ender pearls for some reason. Okay, we grabbed a bunch of stone. Let's fill in this little hole up here, and then we can make the ceiling quite a bit taller, I think. The taller, the better, you know, and the more impressive it looks. How is the poll doing? Still 3 votes. Can I vote? Apparently, yeah. I can vote on my own poll. Grab these torches and move them out of the way. It's a lot darker here when you get rid of the torches. RTX is not friendly. Weird bedrock lighting bugs. I mean, they're not bugs, they're a feature. Don't let anyone tell you they're a bug. Okay? The feature. The more we say feature, the less likely it is for them to take it away and never give it back. Oh, not that much bigger. 3 blocks. Fill it all in. What was that? It sounded like an arrow? No, you know, it was a chicken laying an egg. Chicken laying eggs and skeleton firing arrows are practically the same, aren't they? I mean, if you really think about it. Just an egg cannon. An egg cannon. Imagine if you could craft an egg cannon in Minecraft. The ingredients would be 1 chicken, 1 egg. Then you reload with eggs. Really like a bow, but, you know, shoot faster, do less damage. Maybe. Then you could fire, like, full auto. Because bows tend to be a little slow. You know, their fire rate. And crossbows are even slower. Like, right now, bows are the speedy way to do damage. Other than, like, throwing snowballs or eggs. Throw those pretty fast. But what if, you know, you could upgrade it so the egg fires a little bit slower, but does damage through an egg cannon, you know? See this? I can see it now. This idea coming to life. Just like all the chickens that you would throw. This really is the future of Minecraft. Egg cannon. Like a potato gun, but with eggs. What if they had potato guns? You know? Potato cannons, but Minecraft. This is the future, guys. It really is. We're looking into the future, like we got a crystal ball. Go back over here. For other thingamabob and see how far up we can go to the ceiling. Because up here we got a rogue taco. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes life gives you rogue tacos, and you need to learn how to deal with them in a safe and effective manner. I think the safe and effective manner is to ignore it. You don't want to give the taco too much attention, because then it might go on the attack. And you guys don't want to see attack taco. That's pretty dangerous. Grabbing you with its little taco shell. I amuse myself, and that's the way to do it. So nice to mine with a haste beacon. I always forget how nice it is until I have another haste beacon, and I'm like, why do I mine without? Why do I ever mine without a haste beacon? I have the choice. Okay. Life is never the same after haste beacon. Would it be nice if there was a haste effect that you could get elsewhere, like from a potion? Wet sloppy noises. We'll ignore the wet sloppy noises. Yeah, look how much space we got now. The ceiling's really opened up, quite literally. But through opening it up, we should have lots and lots of space to, like, do the things. I've fallen. Hey, guys, it's less... I think it's less than a minute to vote for it. Not that it'll probably change the vote, but... I really am thinking about starting up some series on SlackVille. Series is, you know, lots of S's at the end. Or maybe Z's. These aren't cool anymore. But if you guys really want, I could. And actually, it doesn't matter if you want to or not, because I'm thinking of doing it anyway. That's what it's all about. What do I enjoy? And I think I would enjoy getting to do some more stuff on SlackVille. I've been thinking about different Let's Play series that I want to do. What can we do? What can we build? What kind of stories can we tell? SlackVille is the home of a lot of story. Quite literally. Thanks to the world's age. And there are plenty more stories to be told. That's what life's all about. Telling your story. And this world of it has a story of its own. I read an economics paper by somebody. I forget whose his name was. He was a Nobel Prize winner, though. And he talked about stories. And the way he described them was and how we think in stories. I think it was very insightful to, well, think about how people think. People think in stories. They think about how the world works in stories, yeah? Like, just like a movie, right? Except in your head, and it plays out through the events of your life. It's how people make decisions. It's how people weigh their options. Stories are what drive us forward. They're what entertain us. They're what help us think critically about situations. They serve so many different purposes. Fictional, factual, matter. They drive us into who we are as people. They can ask interesting questions or give interesting answers. Or maybe do neither. When I was really young, really young, a wee babe fearless, I used to have to take lots and lots of tests. I mean, I still do now as a college student, but I took lots and lots of tests. And I remember before taking starting one test in particular, that my teacher, I think was really young. So the very first test I had ever take, the teacher told me that you gotta look for the... How did she say it? You gotta look for the meaning in every story, you know? And I think that was like a hint for the test. Honestly, I don't think she was telling me anything particularly insightful at the time, but I took it that way because I was really little. Oh, you gotta look for the meaning in every story. Whenever I'd read a story or well, I guess read a story or watch a story in a movie, I would always look for the meaning behind it. What is the author trying to say? Sometimes you can overanalyze things quite easily, but I think a lot of times people are trying to say something. Like music, for example. Music is a storytelling medium. People love music all over the world. In fact, 95% of all humans take some enjoyment from music. They have a gene that allows them to have musicality, I think it's called. Where you enjoy music. 5% of humans don't enjoy music whatsoever. But most people do. And music has been a way for humans to tell stories since, well, earliest days of civilization. Help us talk about our feelings in ways, or, well, they help us explain our feelings in ways words can't. Words are sometimes clunky. They're imprecise. They're difficult to really wrap our heads around. Right? I got distracted by a ping. Water. Maybe that'll help with my headache. I think I'm talking about music, yes. Music helps describe things that are much harder to describe with words. Words are very imprecise. Right? We like to think of words being exact, to mean exactly what we say. But almost every word has a wide array of meanings. And their meanings change over time. They change quite a bit over time, actually. Like, think of slang words, like yeet or dab. Those things didn't exist. Or if they did, they had different meaning than they might do now. Like, now, a dab could mean a number of things. But to me, this is what it means, right? Or a yeet is like to throw something, right? But did those things really have meaning 10, 20, that meaning 10, 20, 30 years ago? They changed, right? In the course of one human's lifetime. And of course, in the course of many humans' lifetime. That's what language does. It evolves. It grows. Like a beast underneath the floorboards. It changes. It doesn't ever stop changing. And this imprecise nature makes it really, really hard to express a lot of really complicated and specific. Because you could say, oh, I'm angry, or I'm happy, or I'm in love, or whatever. But you really don't get to the gritty details of what that actually means. You know? And maybe there really isn't a way to describe those things in a more complicated manner, or in a way that other people could understand, because they're ultimately personal experiences, right? And unless you, plug up someone to your brain so they can experience it with you, nobody really is ever going to fully understand what you're experiencing as an individual, right? But with music, it can do those things in a more subtle and imprecise way that works really well. They help describe the way we feel without saying anything sometimes, or by saying nothing really important at all. A lot of music's lyrics is just totally nothing, right? They don't really say anything. Like a good example of an old song is American Pie. Like I was listening to American Pie the other day. It's a good song, but the lyrics are totally they're basically saying nothing, essentially. Like I took my Chevy to the levee. Levee was dry. I bet that's trying to say something, but it could essentially just be saying nothing. It's just a bunch of words that rhyme, right? And a lot of music is like that, where it basically just says a bunch of nothings. I don't particularly enjoy that kind of music, but it is interesting that it could speak to so many people, and it could be such a persuasive medium, and it's such an impactful medium by saying absolutely nothing, right? When we communicate all day and all of our lives with just words through like text, like if I say this in chat, right? That's usually how most people communicate these days, through text. And not through texting, but just through text, which it doesn't have a lot of the intricacies of normal language. Like now, I'm emoting, moving my hands around, and dancing my seat, essentially. But you can't see that. If I had a VTuber thing, like in the corner, maybe you could, but you can't. And that's how, again, another way we communicate is just by words. Either through text, which doesn't display a lot of meaning in it, a lot of the subtleties of human speech, or through spoken word, like I am now, like listening on the radio, or through music, right? And you could tell a lot about somebody or what they're trying to say just through how they sound, right? You could be listening to music you don't even speak the language of and get what they're trying to say, so to speak, through their language. Or you could tell right now, I'm kind of excited, going fast, or my voice sounds a little bit excitable. Language really, really, really is crazy. It can express things that we never really thought possible, and we would have other much more difficult ways in describing, right? Especially music. Music could describe all sorts of feelings, like happiness or sadness or love or heartbreak or whatever. Like, that's why a lot of songs are about love in particular, because it's such a strong emotion that a lot of people find difficulties managing properly, right? And so a lot of music focuses on that, and it can describe it in ways that words perhaps can't, right? Oops, we got a raid. We have a raid. Gen raid. A fire raid? Warming your heart? Are you guys warming my heart? My heart was a little cold today. Thank you. A little chilly. Shout out at Genfire. We got 2 shout outs for Genfire. One from Snowy and one from Mad Hatter. If you do lurk, it'll work. We got a follow. Did that follow noise work, by the way? I gotta ask. Because I was messing with my noises. I'm hoping they're working now. Before they weren't working. It was terrible. I set up all these fancy noises for follows. Mob Slayer Gaming has followed. Welcome to the Fearless family. We're on SlackVille today. SlackVille Bestville. Thank you so much for the raid, Jay and Fire. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. I saw you were playing a game night for your Friday. Follow noise? Yes! That's excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that that worked. There was also a raid noise. It went da-da-da-da-da-da, you know. We're actually just talking about music and how powerful music is. You can express all sorts of things through music, right? Without even saying a word. The power of music is limitless. Yeah. It can express feelings that are much harder to express with words. Like, how do you say complicated feelings in English, for example? Right? You might say, oh, I'm sad, or I'm happy, or you might be a little more complicated than that. But you can't really get down to the meat and the grittiness of your feelings. Really hard to explain your feelings to someone. Why you often will say, oh, you just don't understand when you're trying to talk to someone or explain your feelings to someone. Because they really can't. It's really hard to understand, yeah? It's hard to explain your feelings. Words are so imprecise and so difficult to use to describe complicated feelings. And yet music has been used by humans for centuries to explain our feelings, explain our stories, tell the stories of our lives. And through stories, we could communicate our feelings. We could communicate these complicated ideas that are so much harder to explain when you try to explain them directly, right? You sort of got to tiptoe, like a little dance, around the idea in order to sometimes explain it really clearly, which is weird. Is this computer muted? Thanks. It's very good to see you too, Grizz. I accidentally played. Welcome, welcome, Raiders. We are on SlackVille today. You guys don't know who Genfire is, you should go check her out. She's pretty pog. He's also a member of SlackVille. I don't think he's played here in a while, but he plays with Slack quite a bit. She has a YouTube series with Slack. She streams all the time. But I need to hear from Genfire viewers themselves. How cool is this Genfire? What were you guys up to today? I saw you were playing video games. Not video game. Of course you're playing video games, you're streaming. But you were playing like a game night kind of thing? Like Lizard. Word games. Hello, Mr. Lizard. 2 people have redeemed word games. You're ganging up on me. Oh, no. You're ganging up on me. What am I supposed to do? Community games. Like in Slack? No, not Slack. Like in... I read Slack Lizard's name. Like in Minecraft community games? Right? Like on a server or just games in general. There we go. A shout out to Mr. Lizard. That is the amazing Mr. Lizard himself. I guess we're doing story time. Where should we do it? We do have a campfire, actually. And a creepy black wall, but we'll stay away from that. We have a campfire up here. We could do story time up there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Sounds like a lot of fun. Let's go jump over here in the corner. I saw you were playing video games. Wow, I'm so insightful, guys. I saw you were playing video games, Genfire. My genius. No snowbounds. Yeah, I saw you were... I didn't get to catch your stream. But I did see that you were doing some community games for your Friday stream. Bingo? Oh, you're playing bingo? That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Bingo night? Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so we're going to do story time. Let's go over here. So, guys, we haven't had a story time in a long time, but story time is my favorite redeem on the channel. It's basically MrFearless word salad. I already speak fast, so this will give me an opportunity to test my skills, you know, to freshen up a little bit. Because story time is where you guys tell the story through me, okay? You guys can share one word at a time in chat, only one word, as long as it's not inappropriate, as long as it's a word that I can pronounce, and as long as it's nobody's name, so no MrFearless or anything like that. You could say any word you like. There are, 130,000 words in the English language? 130,000 words. And you could pick any one you want, as long as you share them one at a time. As many words as you guys can get. You could start sharing them. That would help me out quite a bit. Because the more words we have, the more strange the story will get. The stranger, the better. What does POG mean? POG means really good, I think. Twitch thing. Amazing. That's what I gather from the word POG. Snowy has started us off. We have idiosyncrasies. That's a good word, actually. Chromatic and bingo. Like I said, you can pick any words you like to throw at me. And I will try to use these words to tell a story. I don't know if but I will try to use the words you give me to tell a story. I'll have 5 minutes plus 5 minutes because you guys redeemed it twice. You ganged up on me. So I'll have 10 minutes to tell a story. as fast as I can with the words you give me. And I have to go in the order that you give them to me, so. Gauntlet. Oh, that's a good one. Pickles. Pog means really awesome. It does indeed mean really awesome. I think this... Is this a pog? No, that's not a pog. That's my wet face. Pog. Is there a pog emote on Twitch? I don't know how to search Twitch emotes, and I'm streaming. We'll assume there is. But yes. Gauntlet. Yes, give me as many words as you can. Just throw them at me. Oh, look at that. Can fire in the yard with... Phenomenal. No. Phenomenal. No. Pneumonial. Pneumono... I think I've been defeated already. Longest word in the dictionary. Bedrock Knight. Geranium. Potato. Termites. How A lung disease caused by inhaling silica dust. Pneumonia. I don't know if I could say that word. That's gonna be so hard. Google would give me a hint how to pronounce that one. You too bad. I hope that's not coming through the stream. No, it doesn't. Okay, good. Okay, we're trying to say this, but keep giving me words, guys. You keep giving the words. I'm trying to predict. Pneumono ultramicroscopic endocarditis. Pneumono ultramicroscopic ilio ultravolcanosis. What have you done? I did say any word, so I'm gonna try my best for that one. Okay. Castle, sulfuric acid. I'll tell you one word at a time, Saber. How could you do this to me? 2 words. Isotope. Bluish. Off. Dynamite. Drive. That's what other words we got. Humongous. Gulp opera. And I could say that because there's so many words, particularly in the English language, I almost always get words I've never used in a story time before. So. Hippopotamus, that's a little bit easier. Thank you, Genfire. A little bit easier than the last one. Beam. Limelight. Resolve. Sus. You want me to say sus? Okay. Pneumono ultramicroscopic siliconvolcanosis. Pneumono ultramicroscopic. No, ultramicroscopic. Volcanosis. Augers. Minuscule. Yeet! This guy lizard's throwing a yeet at me. Okay. SlackVille. Oh, so the story's gonna take place on SlackVille. Okay. It'll be some random blocks on SlackVille that gain sentience. We'll see, though. Gigantic. I gotta think of story ideas, you know, so I can keep up with the amount of words you're giving me. Gigantic. Words we have. Okay, I still need some more. Feel free to keep throwing them at me. All right, let me take a nap first, so I don't die to flying squirrels. The word no. Jeez! Confounding. Go nap. Where's my bed? Upstairs, I think. Did I go downstairs? No, there's... Everyone knows not to keep a bed in your murder basement. It's safe that way. Oh, jeez! We got a new follow. Oh, well, welcome to the Fearless family, Mo. I saw you in Slack's Discord. We were in voice chat the other day, I think. But welcome. Welcome in, Mo. Compound, resolution, inclement. The Snowy's trying. It's like the only one to be nice to me, I think, right now is Blank Lizard. Everyone else is trying to make this hard. Let's see. Immaculate compound, resolution, egotistical. How is it going? We're in the middle of story time with MrFearless. We're sending one word at a time to chat so I can run through them all to tell a story. You guys are telling a story through me, essentially. Astronomers. Carpet. Carpet astronomers. Reach. Okay. I'm trying to think. How are we gonna do this? Should I practice the pneumonia word again? Pneumano. Ultramicroscopic siliconvolcanosis. Underworld. Wolf. From. Yeah. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys. I can go fast. So, as many words as possible for the 10-minute mark. I think we're almost ready to begin. You guys can keep sending words while I'm telling the story as well. I won't be doing much but telling the story. The button for markers for my stream, because I might turn this into a little clip. Let's go over here to my storytelling area. I have a seat. Someone built me a seat a long time ago. Just for storytelling. Experience. Metal wither. A vivacious telegraph. We'll see if we're going to be wrapping any babies and swords against it. When did I tell that story? Like 2 years ago, and people are still talking about it today? I mean, there was no babies being wrapped in swords. Like, it didn't happen. Toretto! Pre-processing. Victorious. Ooh, skulls says death. Life! Pomegranate. Milk. Milk sounds pretty good. Art. Okay. Roll up to the beginning of our words. If we could get past the pneumonia word. Or first. Idiosyncrasy. Chromatic and bingo. Story with a chromatic bingo board. Okay, I gotta think. You guys keep sending words. I'll get to them in a second. Okay. Move my mic. I wish there was a button I could have that could scroll this through the chat for me with my game, so I could have my game on pause, so I can emote and stuff. But unfortunately, I gotta have my. Yeah, I do. No, I'll be open in my inventory. Yes. I'm gonna get my phone out. I'm gonna start the timer. We're gonna see if we can get through as many words as possible. That's the goal here, and to tell an entertaining story, of course. You're about to see why this is my favorite redeem on the channel. 10. Stopwatch. Timer. Stopwatch won't alert me when he. Once we hit 10 minutes, I'll try to end the story where we are. Okay. Water. I'm gonna need it. Today's story begins with the idiosyncrasies of a chromatic bingo board. Yes, the chromatic bingo board. The main character really enjoyed his pickles, but one day he had to go through a gauntlet in order to discover his pickles. His pickles, because he accidentally tripped on some geranium in the middle of the night, falling all the way through the Minecraft world to bedrock. Being only 1 block tall and not being able to jump very high, they had to run the gauntlet through the bedrock in order to get back to their pickles before the day was over. Because once the day ended, the dragon would come out and hunt them at night. Because everyone knows dragons spawn in Minecraft at night. Yes. So, as he began his journey through the gauntlet of the bedrock, he discovered a termite in the maze. Being as small as the termite was, the bingo board made friends with the termite. We offered him a potato, but the potato wasn't a pickle. So unfortunately, he had to turn the potato down. So the termite and the termite and the bingo board went together until they came across a termination in the bedrock. Walls stretching infinitely in every direction, or at least to these small little critters. Realized that they were stuck on basically a bedrock island in the middle of nowhere. They were worried they weren't ever be able to escape. But the termite showed that he had something fishy up his sleeve, The ability to ghost straight through objects. See, it was an undead termite, of course. He said, "Watch this." And he's using his ghost power. Became absolutely humongous. The cute little bingo board and phased right through the blocks. Gulping, the poor little bingo board realized that his termite friend had left it behind. Worried he'd be stuck in the bingo maze, no, in the bedrock maze for all eternity. He realized he might go soft and melt into nothingness, as his wood little board melted into nothingness over the centuries. Looking into the bluish sky, he wondered if they would ever return. When all of a sudden, boo! Out of nowhere, termite came in with an isotope, the very isotope that they used to increase their size so they could climb over blocks. It was sulfuric acid, of course. All they needed to do was pour the sulfuric acid all over the bingo board, and the bingo board was able to grow to really big sizes. Absolutely humongous. Growing and growing after the acid was poured on him. Became the size of what he felt like as a castle. Reaching quantum states never seen before. It was pretty painful, but he realized he had to do this in order to get his grain. Continue. As he grew bigger and bigger, he felt he was about the size of a hippopotamus, the biggest he'd ever been in his whole life. But growing too fast, it created a lot of steam. The steam began to shake the bedrock floor from very beneath them. The distance, in the limelight, softly roared, waking up thanks to the suspicious noises. They were resolved to come to and discover what had happened, and if these intruders were out to steal their hoard. Was it a very Brahmo? If they really wanted to truly be poggers, they were going to have to string back to a minuscule size to avoid the dragon's ire. Realizing that they were stuck in the bedrock of the SlackVille server, they knew that there were many, many different places they could go in order to shrink back to a much more normal size. Now that they're huge, they were able to quickly escape the bedrock gauntlet and climb to the surface. Imposing as they were, they yeeted them across the paths behind me. As gigantic as they were, they needed to move fast. The dragon was about to awake and destroy them once and for all. And they spotted it. In a house not too far from here. The cheese that they needed in order to shrink down to normal size, because everyone knows how to shrink, of course. It's far and wide. But it got confounded. People got confused, unfortunately. They thought they needed strawberries. People from all over the land came to help disguise them, like MrFearless. Give them a little nitro boost. Strawberries. Like, no, it's not the strawberries, it's the cheese. It's the only thing that can shrink us. That's when Super Cow came to the rescue. Because it was the super cheese they needed. Traveling across the implement, sliding down from the roof behind me. It landed on the ground. Super Cow was there to hopefully save the day, but in the distance, resolution became clear. In the compound of the mighty dragon, it awoke and checked its immaculate hoard, only to notice that something was missing. A small gold coin. And this could not do! It awoke with a roar, screaming into the sky, as egotistical as it was, that it would find who had stolen. Realizing they didn't have much long to go, walking to the carpet inside of the house, they asked Super Cow, please, please, can you give us super cheese? Super Cow looked disappointed. She really couldn't reach the cheese on the top shelf of the refrigerator. Knowing that this would be their chance. The humongous bingo board and the termite, being discombobulated by their large size, were able to successfully reach the cheese on top of the tall shelf in the kitchen. But that's when zombies attacked, for it had became nighttime, when the dragon was at her most powerful. And the zombies began to beat down the doors of the cheese abode. Super Cow, knowing that she might have to sacrifice herself to save these intrepid travelers, wooed the zombies away and pulled them from the house. As the dragon came closer and closer. They realized it might be impossible, but they had to try. If they were caught, the dragon would certainly slay them and lay siege to all of SlackVille, destroying it in one fell swoop. There's unicycles in the middle of the swamp. Super Cow used her unicycle skills to dance around the zombies, leading them to the swamp, which I'm facing it. Going that way to take the zombies far, far away. They had to forego with civilities and demonstrate their great powers by eating the cheese, knowing that it was very dangerous. experience could end their lives, up down the mansion best as they could, making history in the moment. As the vivacious dragon tearing the ground apart outside the building, demanding they exit. A lone poodle came along and asked the dragon what it was doing. It said, if I don't get my gold back, it'll unfortunately bring the wither to these lands. And the wither is far worse than I am as a monster. So, oodling around. Nominative belief was that if they didn't get the gold back, the wither would come. Spawning in, using the 1 gold block. Reprocessing their death. The termites in the board game realized that they would only be victorious if they somehow found the coin, because they certainly didn't take it. What they didn't know was that very poodle had come to steal their lives and their livelihood, using the 1 little gold it had stolen from the dragon and a pomegranate, as well as some super cow's milk. It was going to make the greatest cheese of all time, the one to summon any monster from any place, including the very wither itself. Slithering into the house while all their foes were distracted. The poodle stabbed the termite in the heart, killing him instantly. With the board game screaming in terror, the dragon knew something was wrong as it broke into my poor house behind me, destroying the top. It looked inside only to see a tiny little board game sitting on the table, and the poodle nowhere to be found. As the poodle retreated to its Victorian home far, far, far away, using the power of the wind to float on the air. The board game looked around confusingly, not realizing what had happened. And the monster that had been unleashed. Going deep into the water, far into the ocean, the poodle submerged itself in its evil lair. Striations of foreign materials along the surface leading to the tower. Tower it called home. Made of corrugated opinions. The very water began to freeze itself as the poodle took steps towards its home. Destroyed and damaged the tower was. It was the perfect place to hide, that nobody would ever go to look. As it climbed up to the top of the destroyed tower, saw a secret hole, jumped right in, falling for what felt like centuries. As the serotonin pulsated its plane with pleasure, as it realized its evil plot was about to come to truth. It realized it could bring a forever June to the world. So the world would never be cold again. But in doing so, it would open the world up to the nether directly, bringing in withers to destroy the entire universe. It knew its one plan was to bring Dracarys back to life. The Dragon Mother, in order to defeat the withers and finally take the nether for itself. Equipping its ocular goggles, it began to work on spawning the wither, using its powerful milk concoction. So it could finally fight these monsters to the death, claiming the entire world for itself. As it came to success, it picked it up, very creation. The one thing that could spawn any creature, the one thing to bring hell to SlackVille, a mighty taco. I guess we're going to have to wait till the next side to see what they're going to do with the taco. The end! How many words did I miss? Not too many. I got as far as I could. That was a hard story time, guys. You guys really hit me over the head with that one. So, will we see if the poodle ends up creating the evil taco to spawn the wither? Bring the hell dimension to SlackVille. I don't know. I've never seen a poodle here on SlackVille, so I think we're safe. But, you know, it could happen at any time. I had to go check my house to see if there's a bingo game like waiting on the table. That apparently was our main character. A bingo game. A bingo board game, actually. It's just the board. It didn't even have any of the pieces. Had her with the waves. And I'll set a fish, I guess. That was pretty crazy. Let's see. Now you got to rate it at the story. We need a poodle resource pack? I think we do. At this point. An evil poodle. I think a poodle would actually make a great villain for, like, a dog movie, you know? Because they're really smart. And people dress them up really weirdly. So it would be perfect, like, the perfect, very fashionable villain. And it all makes sense, guys, trust me. Just watch out for those evil mind-controlling, taco-eating, milk-stealing poodles. And you know what? We never found out what happened to Super Cow. She was riding her unicycle. She was riding her unicycle in the swamp over here. She was riding her unicycle in the swamp over here to distract the zombies who breaking into the house. If you remember. The swamp, I think, is over here. As Cbones in Watchful's house. Find it? Or am I lost already? No, here it is. Yeah, see, this is where Super Cow is riding on their unicycle. You see, they were using a unicycle because the water is only a little bit shallow, so they could run through here pretty fast. Everyone knows the unicycles are the best way to transport yourself through water. At least that's what Super Cow discovered, of course. Or the poodle stole her milk. Yes. It all makes sense, trust me. I'm professional. Professional needs more water. What were we doing before the story time? I'm all discombobulated. That was really hard. I have a headache, too. And I haven't done a one like that in a long time. I think, unfortunately, I got stuck a couple words there. It slowed me down. We need more practice for story time. We're going to work on my basement. So, a long time ago, Mr. Lizard had built me something out of the kindness of his heart, honestly. This cute little storage system we have here. And what we're going to have to do, we're going to dig this area out, start decorating this area. Because I would love to make this look nice. It's been here forever. Forever and a century, right? Chicken? Why is there a chicken there? Of all places, why is there chicken there? But anyway, I want to make this area look beautiful. We're going to dig out the ceiling, or I started doing it anyway. So we could turn this area into something nice. It's been a long time coming. But I think it'll be worth it. Did I just spawn a chicken? I just meant to throw the egg, and it's over there again. Off the cliff. Oh, you know what, guys? We have to introduce you to Cow Ken. We don't have Super Cow here. I don't know why Super Cow ended up in my house in the story. We do have Cow Ken. Hello. Been here for 2 years as a guest. Tied up to a post in my dining room. I'm sure that's perfectly fine for her, but... Yes, I have a Discord, thank you, bot. But she, you know, she's been having a great time. Making milk. Whenever I run into a raid. Jumping from topic to topic here, aren't I? And that's the best way to do it. That's the only way to do a fearless stream. Is to absolutely make no sense whatsoever. So I want to clear out the roof here. I'm looking at the roof. I want to clear it out a little bit. Up there we have something that I built a long time ago. We can actually move that up, I think. Or we can leave it where it is. But I want to clear this area out because I want to put some archways in here. We get some blocks. We can maybe I like to build something beautiful today. Maybe. We'll see. But my plan is to build some archways. Something like this. Oh, did someone redeem something? Someone did redeem something. In the middle of me talking. Woo-woo. Hello, woo-woo. Welcome to the Fearless family. But I want to build an archway like that. Give this area sort of a vaulted ceiling feel. Might make it a little bit steeper, though. I want to finish some of these SlackVille projects. And, you know, I was asking earlier if I should do a series on SlackVille. Right? Now that the server's back up and running again, and I have some free time, I am graduating soon, college. Would love to get some more videos done on here again. I tried to a long time ago, but I got so busy. Sometimes life does that, you know? Sometimes life gets in the way of having all the fun you want. It's okay. I'd love to start a series on this where we start building some crazy things. So finishing some projects on the server, getting to play with the amazing people on here. One of my favorite things about playing on Minecraft in general, and I've said this a couple times, is the people, right? Streaming and playing, it's all about the people. And that includes you guys, but it also includes the members of the server here. Like Mr. Lizard himself, Genfire, Mad Hatter. I think Grizz is a member of the server as well. Malinko. Even though the server's been down for quite a long time, and not as active as it once was, I'd like to bring some life to it again. As I was talking about earlier, before the raid, stories are the way we express most of our ideas. The way we express our thoughts and our feelings. It's really a powerful medium. I would love to tell some amazing stories here on SlackVille. Because the server is, well, got a story of its own to tell. But that's sort of the shape I'm going for, like an arch. Very basic arch, this one is. But I want to put in other blocks. We're not going to use oak, I don't think. Oak is the worst oak, after all. But I think we'll do it, maybe... What do you want, sandstone? Use sandstone. What do you guys think? What sort of blocks should we be using here? Get rid of all the chests. They're in the way. Full of junk as well. We're gonna move all these chests. We're gonna open this area up a little bit. I want to put these big columns in as well. We'll bring this in through here. And I think that'll come out really well. We might use sandstone. We could use this. Red nether right? Or another brick, sorry. Or sorry, the meat block. The raw meat block. Break one of them. Yes, raw meatloaf stairs. We could use some of that. That might look nice. It'll fit with the basement theme. And the wall of heads we have. But... but I want to make this archway here. I want to bring it forward. You can imagine, like, grabbing it and pulling it towards us. And we'll separate some of these chests are going to go as well. We're going to separate some of these chest areas with other closer in pillars. So we'll have this natural shape, this arch shape of the room. And then we'll cut the room into little sections with more arches. Try it without blocks. I had a bunch of stone, but then I used it to fill in a hole. But we could bring this in. We'll have... and move this back. Have our arch that goes throughout the entire build. Higher. We'll bring this back. Phone is yelling at me for some reason. Kind of rude. Oh, it's because of the alarm. It went through the alarm again. We'll bring this in like this. A lot of like this. But we'll pull this back. Create this nice arch shape in this room. That will be the wall. Basic wall. And then every once in a while, at these borders of the header storage system we've got, we'll pull it in by a block. This. The walls will meet like this. And we'll have this dividing system. I'll give you a basic idea of it. Another world. I need to think of what block we're going to use. We could use stone. I mean, that's easy. Stone's really easy. We can also... No, I don't. Go on a person. We're going to go in here and look at something real quick. We'll be back on SlackVille, don't you worry. SlackVille Bestville, after all. But, if we go over here. My big world where I test a lot of creative ideas. We go down here. See, the walls are sort of curved. This is a really tiny one, but the walls are curved, right? They have this nice little curve to them. But they have these dividing spaces in it. Give the wall more depth. It's like pulled out. Like, you grab it and you stretch the wall back towards you. And that's sort of the idea, but on a much larger scale for that room I want. I want these walls here, and then to pull out these pillars. And then, between each of these pillars will be one of those storage systems. Or just, a bunch of chests. Depending on how we want to do it. Yeah. So, I got to decide what block we're going to use. We could, like I said, we could use sandstone. Sandstone will look really nice, I think. It'll have this, like, nice yellow color. We could use the red nether brick, which I don't have a lot of, and the last time I went to get some on SlackVille, I died. Or we could do, well, we could do a number of things, right? Really see how we could go with them. Let's grab some sandstone. If we don't have some, we could go get some. I live in a desert, or next to a desert, in my other area. There we go. I got some. A little bit. That's all we need. Anyway, to test it. But I think it work out good. Well. You only gotta try. Yeah. Use bone block. Should we be a little scary and use bone block? Bone block looks really nice in pillar form. And that is, I mean, like pillaring it up vertically. You know what? Actually, we have some natural bone over here. Not too far from me. We go over here. Where are we at? Down here. There we go. Look at that. It's a fossil. We could do something like this, where we have the fossil going up, because it's got like this nice off-white color, and it has these borders on it. Really close. It'll look really nice. Color them up. It's the same thing we have got going on at my other base. Can I fly out here? Go over this way. Give a little bit of a server tour. We actually saw the Genfire built on the server. This. We moved that thing, which is our original... Oh, someone's been taking it down. Okay. This is the original station of the server. He moved it over here on one of our streams. Our train station. I think Big Jock designed it. It looks really good. Put up the road going up to it right there. Really nice. And then I think he connected as well to Black Lizard's road network, or rail network. But if we go over here, over to my other base, one of the other blocks we could use is basalt. Basalt and bone blocks are very similar in that they pillar up really nice. Got these nice edges to them. Got some right here. It looks great as a pillar. And we could use that really as a delineation mark to separate the room. I think we might use basalt, because I have a lot of basalt. And then we could use the netherrack, or the nether brick. Really want? Question, actually. Where did I put it? I had a bunch of shulker boxes of it somewhere. Oh, is it right here? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Resources acquired. If we start pillaring up in there, we can actually create a really nice looking room. Now, we could, like I said, we could use sandstone like I was originally planning. Sandstone looks nice as a wall block, I think, and a floor block as well. At least the cut stone sandstone does. And that way we can get this really nice yellow color. I've never used basalt and sandstone together. Let's take a look. I probably should have brought my horse. I'm just going to end up breaking my elytra. Down. Test it out. Yeah, let's do it. Let's try. We'll try with the original sandstone. We'll get tested out here because we got lots of space. OG sandstone. It's not very pretty. Basic. Test a little bit of wall with it. I don't think we're going to use this type of sandstone. I think we're going to cut it. Let's see. Cut a little bit of it. Why not have a stone cutter in here? I have every block I could ever need. I even have a furnace in here, but I don't have a stone cutter. Do I have any iron? I need... And of course, I cover my chests. Yeah, I actually have one iron ingot. That's all I need. And then a little bit of stone. Of course, it's a cheese cutter. How could I be so blind? Put that... Where do we put this? Here, I guess. And then we'll cut up this into the cut sandstone, and it's got a really nice smooth face. We could also use the chiseled. Got a little cute little creeper face on it, but I think we'll go with cut. I love the smooth flat side of the cut sandstone. Oh, nice. Well, let's test that here a little bit. Problem is all these chests are in the way. We'll move that. I can move that either on stream or off stream. I won't focus on it right now. We're just testing with blocks. We can create this nice little wall here. And we have basalt pillars. Reach up to the sky. Really cut through them. Separate slices like that. Hey, look at that. It's okay. I don't know if it's great. Gotta amuse on it. We might not want to use the basalt with this sandstone. The thing is, the basalt has like a blue-purple color to it. It doesn't work great with the sandstone. So if we really want to bring this area up to the top notch, this ancient storage area here on SlackVille, up to its full potential, we probably got to use a different block. What else do we have? What else could we use? Dirt? No. We could use a wood. What acacia? Acacia actually goes really well with sandstone. With gray color. Now, this is something I might like. How does that look, guys? Testing blocks right now. We're just seeing where we can go with this. This is gonna be low energy, MrFearless today. Got some more of my sandstone. I don't think we're gonna use the regular stuff. I didn't need this, did I? You only need a cheese cutter for stairs. They are going to add those mangrove... Oops. They're going to add those mangrove trees. And actually, mangrove trees look really good with our red sand... No. Red nether brick. Our raw meatloaf. Right? Yes. Our raw meatloaf would look great with... Oops. With a mangrove tree, because it's got this nice dark red color. You know, actually, because of the Minecraft preview, I could probably stream betas. I need to write that one down. Idea has been saved. It's like a screenshot, but, you know, with text. Got some squish noises. We're going to annoy them. Ignore them. Start tearing on the ceiling a little bit more. We get the ceiling out a little bit more. We'd have more room to play with. The problem is that these things are going to be pretty tall. Oh, Okay, we're gonna be living dangerously. Those carpets are there because slime spawn? We're gonna be living a little dangerously, but... Is it a voice you haven't heard in a while? I haven't heard your voice in a while, Watchful. How are you doing? How's your cat doing? Your cat's name again. Your cat's name? You have an emote for it on your Twitch channel. Iron? It's Iron. Hello, Watchful. Hope you're doing well, bud. Digit, that was their name. Digit. Digit the cat. Is Digit a reference to something? Is that like a Pokemon thing? Digimon? Or is it a reference to the number of toes they have? Digits? Nope. My inventory is full of stone. I have nowhere to put it. Let's make a mistake real quick here and make more chests. Something I'm going to regret in about 5 minutes when I got to remove the chest, but I don't have the room. I could just burn it all. We have cactuses. What am I doing? I don't need to store this stone. Let's burn it. Or destroy it. Delete it from the universe. Goodbye, stone. And dirt. We're working on SlackVille today. I am trying to complete some projects that have been left vacant for some time. In the near future, I want to go get a dolphin for my room to finish it off in this upstairs. That would be actually a really fun adventure. We tried it once before, and then the dolphin got deleted by the server. The server ate my dolphin! Okay, I didn't kill it. It just went up to the big aquarium in the sky. So if we can actually get a dolphin and finish that very long journey... Bacon does not look very nice, though. So I was telling stories about stories earlier. The power of music. Music can tell all the stories. Quite literally. I was going to ask, what kind of music do you guys like to listen to? I listen to classical music. Classical is not like classical rock, but Beethoven. Because I really enjoy that music. I used to be in an orchestra when I was younger. Play violin. And it was a lot of fun to be part of something like that. To be able to play music with a bunch of other people. Sort of like a band, but only wood instruments. Or not wood instruments, string instruments. And being able to tell stories through music has always been ingrained. Love to be able to listen to music and really tell, or listen to the stories that the author is trying to say. Yeah. Even in music that's like several hundred years old, they tell stories that are hard to find anywhere else. But yet, speak to something that is much harder to get to with words alone. Briefly, anyway. Music from any era can talk about love or hate or struggles, right? Talk about memories. Talk about friendship. Without even saying a word. A lot of classical music is done through just instrumentals, which is just, instruments themselves. And a lot of music today is also the same. A good example would be music in movies. Whenever you listen to a movie, it almost always has a soundtrack. Explosions and things happening in the background. People picking up cans or pushing paper bags or all sorts of things. In Marvel movies, lasers are going off or planets are being destroyed or whatever. But one part of the soundtrack that you really don't ever notice is the music is pretty subtly there for the most part. Right? It's almost always playing. And that music is special because it's literally designed to help tell the story, to facilitate the story of the movie. For these things. Why do I have so many path blocks? Oh, I picked it from that chest. I guess we're gonna have to make that chest after all. But these movies have these amazing soundtracks, and I have one right now. My Minecraft soundtrack. Oh, I closed the game. Open it up. My music is even playing. Audio device. Should be playing. Oh, it is. It's just... Minecraft is another great example, because when you play Minecraft, you often have the music playing in the background. And it's really a side character of the story you're telling through the blocks you're placing, or the game you're playing. But it's still part of that story. Like right now, this song is like telling a story, not the one that was designed before the song was made, but a story through this, the world you're playing in as you're playing, right? It's a dynamic story, waiting to be told just by you. The meaning of the story changes from moment to moment, from world to world, from person to person. Like, I used to listen to music. I think this is the creative music, actually. Yeah, it's Creative 6. One of my favorite songs. I used to listen to this music all the time when I used to play in Creative Mode on my phone. I'll play some blocks and stuff like that. It's really hard for me to play Survival on my phone. I never really did that. I play Survival now all the time on my computer because it's a lot easier to manage. But the stories were literally told as you're playing, as you're placing blocks. And for a lot of games, like, or movies or whatever, the stories have already been told, so to speak. They're just waiting for you to catch up. Right? The maker of the game or the movie, or the makers, have already wrote the screenplay. They've already recorded the voice lines. They already have the characters doing all their things. And then the music is added on a layer on top of that. It's there to amplify the story, not necessarily tell a story by itself. But something like Minecraft music just exists by itself. There's no pre-planned out story to go along with it. The music is the accompaniment to your own story. I think I'm gonna move some of these materials back home. So I'm gonna take this horse. The person who uses it doesn't play in here anymore. We're gonna go this way. But stories can be told in so many different ways. And often, the best kind of stories are the ones that we make for ourselves. Like when we listen to music, specifically the kinds of music that, don't really have words in them. They sort of tell a story in our own imagination, kind of like reading a book. You decide the details of the story yourself. The music is there just along for the ride to enhance the story. Or it could be the main story element itself. Like, when you're on, listening to the radio or whatever, or like I do, listening through YouTube or Spotify. You can close your eyes and also imagine the story unfolding just with the music itself. It's such a powerful medium, and people have been using it for hundreds of thousands of years to tell stories. Right? Before there was recorded history, there was music. Passed down from father to son, mother to daughter, sort of way. Generational stories. They were telling stories of not fictional characters, not something in Minecraft or characters in a movie, but stories of once real people. Changed to morph all the time and morphed all the time into mythologies. How you get like a lot of Greek mythologies. That's what my base is based off over here, right? I'm gonna call that the Elysium Hotel. Elysium is like where people go after they die if they're really good in Greek mythology, like the equivalent of heaven. And some of those characters in those stories, those Greek stories, might have been real. I read this one story called Asclepius' Oresteia, and it's about a king in Greece who gets killed by his wife, I think, right? But it all happens because of the Battle of Troy. Troy was this fictional place, or thought to be a fictional place for a long time, because it was told in these crazy stories by the Greek, the Trojan horse. You have a wooden horse and shoving soldiers into it, and shipping it off to the city and then them accepting the prize, only for the horse to break open and a bunch of soldiers to run out and capture the city, is crazy. So crazy, in fact, that most people didn't even think it was real for hundreds of years. But now it's believed that these stories that were passed on from generation to generation over thousands of years might have had a basis in history. These things might have really happened, even as crazy as they are. Troy was a real place, and maybe even the kings of Troy were real. Maybe even Helen of Troy was real, which is the lady that everyone was fighting over. Okay. And stories are not just how we tell bits about the past, about crazy things that happen in history, but they're also how we tell the story of our own lives. It's how we make decisions, right? What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I do that? It's how you talk to your friends to tell them the things that happen in your life. Oh, this crazy thing happened to me today. It's how humans have been describing their lives since there were humans. These stories, these mythologies of these ancient peoples, like the people in Troy, originally started out as perhaps the same kind of stories we tell today to our friends. A retelling of events as they happened, or maybe embellished a little bit. And then, after being told for many thousands of years, comes myth. It's impossible to distinguish what happened from what didn't happen. You live on through the stories you tell, longer than you may ever live in real life. Right? Nobody is alive that saw Helen of Troy if she was real. Nobody is alive that saw Troy in its heyday, or even, the many other Troys that came afterward after it was destroyed. And yet these things live on. They exist after, long after these people passed away, right? Like, in 1,000 years, is anyone going to remember my name? We're getting a little bit philosophical here, but I think they're probably not. But they remember these people's names just because their story was so amazing. There are similar stories of all kinds like this that have been told throughout history. Stories of people, stories of events. Stories that are unfolding right at the very moment we're talking right now. Stories are the way we describe history. Stories are the way we preserve history. Because even after we started writing things down, we wrote it down as stories. As people doing things and accomplishing things. In fact, in the United States, one of the ways that we teach history is through the history of great people. The idea is that you could teach history by teaching about great people in it, right? And their stories. Like George Washington or whatever. And that's even the same way in other cultures as well. Telling stories of great people who have lived is a way to describe major events. The story, and this, like I said, this stuff happens even today. Like, think of famous sports people. Tom Brady, famous football player. His story was told for a long time because how famous he was, right? It will probably long outlive his name and his likeness. Maybe there'll be people telling stories in a couple hundred years of this crazy football guy. Stories are how we preserve ourselves for as long as we can. But sometimes it doesn't come all the way through, like music, right? Plenty of music is really old, but it doesn't necessarily describe the people who wrote it in the same way a written story might, or a spoken story might. And maybe even the music isn't describing a person, but a time or a place, or like I said earlier, a feeling. Like, what is this music we're listening to right now describe? What does it mean? And ultimately, even if it means something important, it can mean different things to different people. It's the kind of story that evolves and changes with whoever listens to it. Most stories have pretty finite beginning and end, part of the story itself. This thing happened, and then someone did this, and then it was all over. But some stories don't have that. They're born out of ambiguity. Even though they could describe really complicated things and talk about the world in ways we may not be able to understand most of the time. Music does. It might tell a different story to different people. Ultimately, I think that's one of the weird powers of music, of being human. Interpreting the world around us in ways that other people may not. It's what makes our stories unique. It's what makes them fun to listen to. Whether it be a story of great victories thousands of years ago, or a story of some person playing Minecraft, I think stories can be immediately, well, gratifying, entertaining. And that they preserve that part of someone that you might really value. Like, I will talk about my grandmother to my parents through stories of the things she did. Even though she's long since passed away now. Or stories live on, yeah? The stories of her and I going fishing, her lake, of making food together. The stories of her doing absolutely crazy stuff. Getting away with it somehow. These kind of things live on long past we do. How we share our loved ones with others. Crazy. We're back again after a very long trip. It took me forever because I was in the middle of talking. But I want to clear out some space down here because... well, it's really hard for me to place blocks on chests. So I'm going to get rid of this chest. We're going to have to find out a way to place these blocks somewhere that doesn't take too long. If I had more shulker boxes, I think I could, but I don't think I have any spare shulker boxes kind of stuff. I might have some upstairs. Double check. Let me check my... Might have some boxes upstairs. My favorite line is "You die twice. Once when you die, and the last time when someone forgets your name." Exactly. That's sort of the sentiment I was trying to describe. You die once for the first time, and then a second time for the last time someone says your name. That's actually like the story of, what was that movie? The Disney movie, the Pixar movie. Coco. Very sweet movie. You live on much longer after your death through the stories people tell about you, through the people who remember you, through the people you interact with. You leave an imprint, like dropping a pebble into a pond. Yeah. Every person you interact with might be one of those people to tell your story in their own strange way. To preserve your existence long after you go. A weird example I have is there was a discovery of a man in the Alpine Mountains in Italy. And at first they thought he was a murder victim. That they were an unfortunate accident because of how the body was discovered. So the police came and they realized that it was a lot older than they thought. And it turned out to be a well-preserved man from 20,000 years ago. Yeah? You could still make out their facial features. You could tell what color their hair was, what color their skin was. You could even tell what they ate for their last meal. I think it was barley or something like that. They had tools on them and stuff like that. They were human just as much as you and me are, but they lived such a long time ago that their life is nothing like we live today. Yeah. And yet, this person probably had a name. Almost every human who's ever lived has a name of some kind. One of the universal traits of almost every culture is, what noise do I make to get your attention? Right? And yet, we don't know this person's name. I think I forget what they're called, but they're like some sort of mummy. Okay? And we don't know their name. They had loved ones. They were born. Eventually, they did die. And they made friends along the way, probably. We don't know them either. Or, like, if you go to a random cemetery and look at the gravestones. How many of those gravestones have people still visit them? It's weird. Strange. We are a small speck in a big universe. Even on Earth, we're a small speck, yeah? Their planet's so huge compared to our size. There's temporarily, so we have more space to store garbage. But our history is not written by us, yeah? It's written by the people that come after us. The stories that are told by the people who are left. History is written by the victors, and the victors aren't necessarily the people who win, they're the people who survive. Right? Like this mummy person that we're talking about. They lived such a long time ago, such a long time ago, that we don't even know what language they spoke. And even if we did, we probably wouldn't be able to translate it. Oh, you want to know? Okay, here's another fun story. We're talking about Greek mythology. Let's talk about a story about a whole civilization instead of an individual person. There is this civilization called the Minoans, who existed on an island called Crete. They existed for about 2,000 years before they disappeared at the end of the Bronze Age for one reason or another. And when they disappeared, most of their culture went with them. All the stories they told, all the ideas they had, the very things they believed, gone. But it wasn't like a snap of your finger. It looks like that because we live so far away from him. But their people continued to live on. In fact, lots of Greek people today have ancestry in that goes back to the Minoan people because they fled their little island for one reason or another. And even though we really don't know why their civilization collapsed, we can say that we have a lot of stuff that they left behind. Palaces they built, the artwork they left. Okay? And these, even though there's no language, I mean, there is language. It's linear A, and we don't know how to translate it. Even though there's a language that we don't know how to translate, they left behind lots of murals, like showing their art, showing how they dressed, showing the things they thought were important. Yeah. And with the same similar story was for a long time for Egyptian, right? We didn't know how to translate Egyptian for a long time. We had their pyramids, we had their sculptures. We had a culture that existed for like more than 15,000 years, probably. And we really didn't know anything about it. We were able to translate the language. And even then, they're still mysterious people. Even then, there's movies made about them, about these pharaohs that lived such a long time ago. Right? But when it comes to Minoans, we don't really know anything about them. We can't translate their language. Their culture is lost. But maybe it isn't. Maybe all is not lost. Because stories live on in the strangest ways possible. There's this fella named Plato, a pretty famous philosopher. He wrote about this group of people called the Atlanteans. You might have heard of them. They're a pretty famous story. You know, the city of Atlantis. This advanced, technologically powerful civilization that lived on an island. A lot like the Minoans. Big palaces. A lot like the Minoans. And disappeared from a volcano. And the earth being swallowed up. Which happened right before the Minoan civilization fell. And it turns out that Plato, even though he lived like 2,000 years after every Minoan died, might have been telling the story of the Minoans without even knowing it. To him, he was just telling some crazy story he heard one time. Hey, look at this, guys. Right? But he might have been telling the story, the final story, of a civilization that had been destroyed 2,000 years ago. And think about that. He probably didn't just make it up on the spot. He probably heard it from other people. Which means that even though their civilization was long and gone and nobody really knew about them anymore and they were just as mysterious as ever before, people were still telling stories about them. About what they were like. About the crazy things they were up to. Right? And you're right. The technology and information is lost over centuries. Well, actually, another weird fact about ancient civilizations, one of them being Rome, a famous one. We don't know how the Romans, for a long time, we didn't know how the Romans built their concrete, which is a major component of all their structures. Not because, people got dumber or whatever, because nobody needed concrete after the Romans disappeared. Concrete was used for big fancy buildings. And peasants are building really big fancy buildings after the fall of Rome. So for a long time, people did know how to build Roman concrete, and people talked about it. They wrote about it. But eventually, that trade was lost. I've actually talked about this before, about more recent examples of information we've lost, even in the last couple decades, right? About, like, specialty tools, that skills that are lost. An example of people who are still alive is there's these things called the iron lungs. Polio was a terrible disease that used to leave people paralyzed. They couldn't move. And in the middle of the last century, they came up with a way to keep these people alive. Because their lungs would freeze and, they would fucking die. These giant mechanical marvels called iron lungs. They would inflate and deflate on a semi-regular basis in order to hopefully mimic people's natural breathing cycle to keep them alive for the rest of their life. Yeah. And not too long ago, I watched a video from a fella who called himself the last iron lung survivor. He's the last guy that uses one of these iron lungs to survive. He does all his work using his face and stuff like that. But he was in dire straits. His machine was failing. Even though he lived, he's still alive. I mean, I think he's still alive. Even though he was alive in the last decade, at least. And the machine he was using was necessary for his survival. There was nobody alive today that knew how to fix it. His machine was failing. His life was in danger. Yet nobody alive knew how to fix it. Because all the people who made it all those years ago when he was a young boy, long since passed away. The lady is still using it. There's one seal left. Yeah. The technology that was created less than 100 years ago has vanished. Because nobody uses it. Things atrophy. It's just like skills in real life, you know? If you don't use something, you know, like math skills or whatever, those things atrophy. You lose the ability to do it. And the same thing happens to whole civilizations, whole groups of people, whole groups of technologies. It atrophies. It disappears. It vanishes. Right before our very eyes. Gone forever. Going back to the Roman concrete example, there's plenty of times when people in history have said, oh, yeah, that Roman concrete, I know the recipe, but why would I need to write it down? Everyone knows how to do it, too. But we haven't used it for a while. I mean, not any big buildings left to really use it on. And over the centuries, less and less people said they know how to do it until it was gone. We've recently discovered how it was probably made, but we don't know for certain. Probably made using the volcanic ash present in primarily Italy from all their volcanoes. But don't know the real recipe. We can only guess at the chemical composition of the structures they left behind. Nobody ever wrote it down. Gone forever, right? Or like I was talking about earlier with the story of Troy. Troy was this city-state, a whole civilization of people with a unique culture and ideas. And it wasn't like one person. It was an entire group of people who lived for hundreds of years. And yet for a long time, we thought they were fictional. We thought they were fake because they were only told through crazy stories that the Greeks left behind. Because it turns out the Greeks' city-states really evaporated them from existence. And all that were left were these crazy stories. Right? Or the Minoans with the Atlantean story. Very possible that the Atlanteans, famous water civilization that had been told in stories for hundreds of years, thousands of years since Plato, even thousands of years before he told a story, were these Minoans, these real people that really did exist. Not some fictional society that, you know, had lasers or whatever, but a real people that lived and breathed as we do. It simply vanished. Their culture erased. Well, the only stories that remain are the ones that were just popular enough to exist for long enough for us to call them today. Or, like I was talking about Isocles' Oresteia. The Oresteia is one of the one of many Greek plays that existed from an author called Isocles, very famous and prolific author at the time. And yet, most of his stories don't exist anymore. They were destroyed. They were lost. The stories themselves do exist because they were written on parchment, and parchment degrades. In fact, the Oresteia is a lot of those plays were like 5-parters, right? The Oresteia is, I think, book 2 of a 5-book story. I think book 1 and book 4 are missing, never to be recovered again. Right? This parts of this story are missing. Yeah. The Oresteia picks up in, I think, part 2 after the fall of Troy, right? Back home in Greece, which is probably why it was preserved, because, you know, place in Greece, people probably thought that was cool, right? Where some parts were missing. Or like you have these famous Greek authors, we know their names. We know the works they did, but we don't know anything about those works. We don't know the stories that they were about. We don't know the words they used. Imagine if, for example, someone like Shakespeare, like 100 years from now, people are talking about, or even 1,000 years ago, people are talking about like Romeo and Juliet. They have no idea what the story was about. No idea. Because the original text was lost. They knew it existed. They knew the Shakespeare guy wrote a bunch of stories and he's really famous in English society, but they have no idea what the story was about. They don't know it was about 2 young lovers. They might know it's about two young lovers on a basic level, but they don't know what shenanigans they got up to. They don't know how he wrote the story. They don't know the words or all the characters in the story, right? They only know like a synopsis, right? And that's essentially what happens to the stories of civilizations like the Atlanteans, right? The Atlanteans story probably started out as a pretty mundane story of an island being destroyed by a volcano. I guess that's not very mundane. But it probably started out in that way, yeah. And then slowly but surely, it was morphed into this crazy Atlantean story that Plato decided to write down one time. And then that's the story we remember because it's the only one that remains. Or another interesting example is these guys called the Brothers Grimm lived much closer to our time. They were 2 brothers that went along Germany, like the Ruhr Valley, and near France, and recorded a bunch of folk stories. or it's the end of the industrialization period, as people were moving out from these rural areas into the big cities. And this is where stories like Cinderella comes from, or the Three Blind Mice, or the one story with the duck, or Hansel and Gretel. These stories exist because these brothers decided to preserve them. Because these stories were told orally, which means people told them in the same way I'm telling you stories right now, through word of mouth. And those things don't last very long. Like we just said, or like our Hander said, you know, just like people, when people say your name for the last time, that's really when you die. They have some stories. When the last person utters it for the last time, the story's gone forever. So they went in and they preserved these stories as people are moving, as these cultures are shifting. And these stories themselves aren't perhaps what the stories looked like originally. And in the Brother Grimm's books. Like Hansel and Gretel has a couple of different endings, depending on how bad your kids were that night. Because it's a story for telling your kids at bedtime. You know, you can have one where the kids are eaten, or one where the witch is eaten. Or there's several different endings of Cinderella or whatever, right? That's because these are oral stories. They change over time. They evolve, just like language does, just like people do, right? The people who tell the stories are in full control of how the story goes. They change it. They morph it over time. These stories change from their original beginnings into something completely, maybe, completely foreign to the original story, right? Like the story of Atlantis. Atlantis sounds so weird if you read Plato's original story. Trust me, it's really weird. Weird, super advanced alien type civilizations that could do whatever they want and live in a perfectly circular island with rings and stuff. All that stuff is exaggerated from the original people, because the original people aren't there to really correct you, and because the story had changed so much because it was told orally, right? Probably by the people who originally suffered it, right? Imagine you're one of these Minoan people living on the island of Crete, and all of a sudden a volcano, or what you think is a giant explosion, happens in the distance. You're already been struggling for years with your crops, and there have been invasions from the south, and then that's it. Your civilization's done. You flee your home, your entire culture, everything you've ever known. You flee to somewhere else, and you tell people about this story, about what happened, right? And maybe you intermingle with the new culture. You have kids or whatever. And then your kids tell the story. And then their kids tell the story. And then their kids tell the story. Until, one kid goes, oh, I don't believe that story. That never really happened. As they do. And then details are lost. Information is lost. It becomes more fantastical, right? Basically, it becomes the Wizard of Oz of stories. And before you know it, it's nothing like the original story. And then people are left to wonder, did this crazy, fantastical thing ever happen at all? Or did someone just make it up a really long time ago? There was this famous author in Rome who used to write fictional stories. And back then, that was kind of crazy. Writing fictional stories, who would have done it? But essentially, any story could be fictional. It's just something someone made up a long time ago. Like Zeus or Athena or the Greek gods or whatever. Probably didn't exist. And that the stories still exist. Long after people stop really worshiping those gods. Right? So essentially, how do you separate the fact from the fiction? How do you know the real stories from the fake stories? It's an intriguing concept to think about. I find it very fascinating. Look at Pompeii. Yeah, Pompeii is a great example. A city literally burned in lava and ash. Yeah? Imagine if several hundred years people tell stories of Pompeii, it'd be like, no way, that never happened. And the story changes and morphs, and people don't believe it anymore. The only reason we know about Pompeii in such great detail is because the history that was written down by the Romans was so well kept. Yeah. Civilizations that came after the Romans basically worshipped Roman society, right? So they preserved a bunch of stuff from them. Particularly a lot of their writings. So we get to hear, read firsthand accounts. Pompeii is a really good one, actually, because there was these two characters called Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger. Pliny the Younger was the nephew of Pliny the Elder, and he was a bit of a bookworm. And good old uncle asked him one day, hey, there's this big pile of smoke coming out of this mountain over here. Would you like to go take a look with me? And I kid you not, Pliny the Younger said, "Nah, Pops, I want to study," instead of look at the giant smoke cloud. So he stayed indoors while Pliny the Elder, who was at that time an old man, took a boat, because he was actually in charge of what was the Roman Navy at the time, and went down to Pompeii to see the ash clouds. And as he got closer and closer, closer, the ash filled the air and started laying on the ground, inches at a time. He went to a villa to see his friends, talked with them a long time, trying to convince them to leave. They didn't really take it too seriously. They stayed there quite a while as the ash built up. And by the time they realized how serious it was, they couldn't escape. They were trapped. Pliny the Elder was stuck in a villa on the outskirts of the city of Pompeii. He and his entourage fled the city, going as fast and far as they could. But Pliny the Elder began to cough and spout, the ash covering his lungs. As an old fat guy, he did not fare so well. He said, "Leave me, friends. Escape for yourselves." Weeks later, Pliny the Younger, going to collect his father's or his uncle's belongings, went to the spot where his friends had left him and found him sitting there under the tree. Pliny the Elder had passed away in the spot they had left him, probably not too long after they left him. And Pliny the Younger said he looked like he was sleeping, laying there peacefully. Of course, he had a lot more of a peaceful end than most of the people there, as they were covered in hundreds of tons of ash and buried in lava. Not very pleasant. One of them was crushed by a rock in the face. Not a pleasant way to die. But their story lives on because, well, Pliny the Younger stories were recorded. He was a learned man, as they would say back in his day. So he could write. And right, he did. He told the story. Because people preserved his parchments, the story lives on. And so we kind of know what happened to Pompeii. Right? I mean, of course, we don't know what happened to all the people in it, because they all died. And they never unburied the city until in the last century, practically. But the story lives on, and we know kind of what happened, that they were covered in a volcano. The story of those individual people is preserved, quite literally, in their bodies. And through that, we discover all sorts of stuff. Like, for example, there's a city next to Pompeii called Hernaculum. It was a much smaller city. And because it was much smaller, back in the early 20th century, it was less exciting to excavate. So it was left buried. It was also much deeper. It was, instead of like 15 feet like Pompeii, it was like more like 20 to 30 feet of ash. It was a lot harder to excavate the city. But with modern forensics tools, modern archaeology efforts, we're able to dig the city much better than we have in the past. So we were able to uncover the soot and soil, ash and basalt that had covered the city, and retell the stories of the people as they passed away. Hernaculum at the time was along the sea. Pompeii was. It was a seaport. So they had these strong Roman concrete docks used for storing grain. And that's where most of the bodies in the city were found. The people who could escape did escape, because Hernaculum was a port city, so lots of people could get on boats and go away. But many of the people who wanted to stay, people who lived there, had probably faced tremors in the past. Right? And every time there was an earthquake from the volcano, even though that's not what they knew, they didn't know that's what it was. They used to hide underneath these large concrete structures. They were the safest structures in the city, the most well-preserved buildings to keep them safe, because there were these large concrete vaults. So every time one of these massive events would occur, they would all go there and hide. And that's exactly what they did on the day that Mount Vesuvius exploded. They went there and hid. Along the beach, they found a lot of younger males that were probably waiting for the all-clear signal to let people out. And inside the vaults, they found lots of women and children huddling close together. And for a long time, they thought they had found every single body there. But it turns out there was one hidden in the back. In the back of one of these vaults, there are these little crevices. I really don't know what they're for, but there were these little holes. And there were these two women leaning against the back as they died. And one of the archaeologists thought that was a bit strange. And they began investigating behind them, because they were facing the wall when they died. And they were actually pretty wealthy. They had lots of jewelry on them, so. They began excavating it. Discovered a smaller body, a baby, a child, very young child, had been put in there, and they were covering it from the ash when they all perished. And even though it's a very sad story, it's a story nonetheless. A story that is told through what remains of those people. I watched a documentary on Hernaculum, and one of my favorite points was one archaeologist that they were talking to the whole time. And he pulled out an item from under his desk and said, "This is the most valuable item I own." Now, dear viewers and watchers, can you guess what the most valuable item this man owned? He said it was from Hernaculum, and it was the basis of all his research. And I think he joked and said that he would give up his wife before he gave up this item. Can you guess what it was? If you'd like to hazard a guess, go for it. If not, I'll give you the answer here shortly. But he went on and on about how important archaeology was, and how the idea of preserving the common person is so difficult. Because stories are often preserved about civilizations or famous people, but rarely about everyday folk like you and I. You sort of get the sword and the stick when it comes to amazing stories that are told over eons. But through archaeology, you can learn more about the everyday people that lived, what they ate, what they did, who they were as humans. Ultimately, they were human. Human as you and I were. They had thoughts and dreams and hopes and feelings. They loved, they hated. They had friends, they had enemies. One of the things that they discovered in both Pompeii and Hernaculum, these cities covered by volcanic ash and destroyed in the wake of a volcano, thousands of years before we even knew what volcanoes were carvings on the side of buildings left by everyday folk. And I actually encourage you to read some of them. Some of them are a little bit raunchy, yeah, but all of them are super interesting. They really describe the humanity of these people. Like, one of them was inscribed on the inside of a bathroom stall. Toilets in Pompeii. And it said, "I was here." And next to it, it said, "I, the emperor's scribe, defecated here." And all across the wall, there's still messages. I was here. I lived, basically. People were saying. And so something so human about it, to want to preserve your life in some meaningful way. To say, I was here, that I mattered, that I had thoughts and feelings. And because of the volcanic ash that crushed the city, it preserved it in the moment, so to speak, instead of, being withered away by weather, quite literally. Their lives were preserved through a little message they left behind. Like, one of them said, me and my friend, and they gave their names, I forget their names, celebrated today our everlasting friendship. They were such good bros that they had to describe it on the wall, yeah? And because of the nature of the city, their story is preserved for all eternity. Or one said, my girlfriend is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. If Aphrodite came right before me, the goddess of love, she wouldn't pale in comparison. Someone wrote that 2,000 years ago. Getting back to our friend, the archaeologist, and his most valuable item, it was a rock called coprolite. Now, coprolite is unique in that it's poop. It's feces. Specifically, in this case, fossilized human feces. Hernaculum, like a lot of Roman cities, had a sewer system for taking refuse away from living people. Humans have always had a problem of we're very wasteful. We leave a lot of junk behind. Poop and garbage from the food we eat. In fact, most ancient civilizations that archaeologists deal with are learned about through the garbage they left behind. Like Vikings, for example. Vikings weren't a civilization. That was more of a job title, but ancient Nordic peoples left a lot of garbage next to where they lived. Okay? Through their garbage, you can learn about them, like what they wore and the things they crafted and the things that they found important. And through the coprolite in Hernaculum, they were able to discover what people ate. What regular, everyday people, like you and me, ate. I used to say that all the time during my streams. What are we eating for dinner today? What's for dinner? Right? But these questions are questions that humans have had to ask since the beginning of time. All humans got to eat. Even the ones that lived 4,000 years ago, or 2,000 years ago, or yesterday. And these people in her curriculum are no different, except because they're poor people. They never wrote down what they ate. I never talked about what I had for dinner. It's not like today where you could go on the internet and like, or like I could share my soup recipe. These things weren't preserved, so they're lost to history. But through their poop, you could tell what they ate. Yeah. And for example, for a long time, they didn't really know what Roman citizens ate, and they could prove that in this case, Roman citizens ate a lot of fish. Turns out it's like one of the favorite things to eat. They had a lot of it in their refuse. Or, for example, I read about the story of a young boy. Like a good shoot recipe? A shoot recipe? What's a shoot recipe? Did I say shoot instead of soup? Anyway, there's this young boy that lived in Russia about 400 years ago. 400, 500 years ago. And we know he existed because he left some drawings behind. Think about if you have any kids of your own, or if you've been, I mean, we've all been kids at one point. You might still be. But think about all the drawings you get, you know, all the doodles you make, all the things that your parents would put on the fridge. Drawing family, and they're a bunch of stick figures. And that's exactly what was discovered in the garbage bin on the side of the road in St. Petersburg. Garbage from people who lived a long time ago. And in this case, they found some writings from a kid, a little kid, about 8 or 9 years old, who had been drawing himself as a knight. Kid had dreams of being a knight. At the time when knights were real. Prove himself fighting epic battles and slaying foes. And one of them actually had marked from his teacher because he was a slightly wealthy kid. And his teacher had told him to stop writing a bunch of junk and do his homework. 400 years ago, a little kid was being told to do his homework and got mad because he started doodling on his homework. Okay. And we know his name because he was practicing his name on the paper. I forget his name. Something in Old Russian. Okay. And this story is told not through people, or living people anyway, but through the trash they left behind, right? These were just doodles, garbage. The type of drawings that you throw away when your kids get old enough sometimes, okay? And yet, because it just so happened to survive, you can look at these drawings. So this little kid, 8 or 9 years old, drawing himself as a knight, fighting in battle. Of copying his name over and over again, practicing how to spell it. Like, just like a kid today. Yeah? Practicing how to spell their name. And he lived such a long time ago that it's almost impossible to imagine what life would be like. Yeah, they were just as human as we are. Stories are not stories of mythical creatures, necessarily. They're story, or like, beings that could never really exist. They're stories of real people told through what's left behind. You're seeing the little kids drawing are garbage? I'm not thinking it was garbage. I said they found it in the garbage, so... They found his doodles in the garbage, so someone threw it out. Probably Dad. Or his, he had a tutor. Who was tutoring how to spell his name, so... And contrary to popular belief, lots of medieval people knew how to read and write. They just didn't do it often. Like land deeds and a lot of stuff, you had to learn how to know how to read and write to preserve your land deeds or do important correspondence, write letters and stuff like that. So in most families, there was at least one person that had to read and write. At least a little bit. Not like expected today of modern people, but they could read and write a little bit. Like signing their name, for example. You ever hear that argument? Like, oh, those kids aren't learning cursive anymore. Especially here in the United States. I mean, what are they going to do? Those miscreants, you know, getting those participation trophies. It's actually a very common argument throughout history. You know, lots of people had to have signed their name. But because literacy wasn't standardized, it meant there was a lot of deviations in how words were spelled. So it makes people look illiterate when they write things back then, even though they aren't. They'll even spell their names occasionally. Because just like we do today, they would use phonetic spelling. And their letters would sound a little bit different to us. And even to them in their accents. So names could change slightly in spelling over time. Or some letters would sound similar. like K and C to us, English. So they would end up spelling their names a little bit differently. But they could still do it, and they could still read a little bit. They had to. I just find it so weird to think about a kid 400 years ago practicing how to spell their name over and over again at like 8 years old. Very similar age to, you know, how a little kid might be spelling their name today or practicing it for their parents. And at the same time, doodling on the same page, they're signing their name, you know, drawing little pictures and stuff like that. Like a knight in shining armor riding a horse with a little arrow that pointing to it that says me. Right? Just so human. Another example of this everyday human archaeology and the stories that we leave behind is the story of a famous cliff in Greece, I think. Just along the ocean, and it's got lots of cliff space and ocean front property because of its natural geography. And in one particular place, there's this really famous cliffside. It's really tall, like 20, 30 feet tall. And these people throughout history have been famous for signing things on it. And in one particular spot, way up high, there was some doodling done. Way higher than any person could get normally. You'd have to be like a superhero in order to go up that high. For a long time, nobody knew what it said. Because the person who wrote it had since faded from history. So, some archaeologists decided to go up there and investigate this ancient saying. What wisdom would it bestow upon us? And it turns out it was an 18th... No, like a 14th century, or maybe even 10th or 12th century Viking. And yes, a Viking, because that's what their job description. They were hired by somebody who had went down there and was very far from home and missed home. Who had signed their name at the top of this cliff. It's saying simply, I was here. They signed their name and said, I was here. That's it. And it was at the top of this massive cliff. For hundreds of years, people had wondered what it said, and all it said is, I am here. There's this famous former cathedral, and now turned mosque, in Istanbul, called the Dome of the Rock. It was originally built by the Byzantines, who were the successors of the Roman Empire. They built this massive cathedral called the Dome of the Rock. It wasn't called that back then, but that's what it is today. And on the inside of it, there are a lot of scratchings on the walls of people who had been in the building. The building is like hundreds of years old. One of them is from one of the emperor's guards, who had inscribed on it that they were lonely. They had missed home because they had come from far, far away as a mercenary to guard the emperor. That's what they put on the wall, that they missed home. There was this famous battle between the Romans and the Germanic tribal peoples, called the Battle of Teutoburg Forest, where the Romans got their butt handed to them. After they got their butt handed to them, another legion came back and instituted reprisals on the native population, which were not very nice. By that, I mean they killed a lot of people. But after they came back, there was some refuse left behind that they took back home from some of the fallen soldiers who had died the previous year battle. And two of them were actually Germanic soldiers, I think, who were working for the Romans, because the Romans would often hire mercenaries. And they were two brothers. And they talked about how... no, maybe they weren't from Germany. I forget what they were from. They were two brothers from far away. I think they were Muslim. Or precursors to Muslim. This is like way before that even existed as religion. But they were Arabic in origin, I think. And they were hired in some of those Roman provinces that reached into like modern day Israel, working in the Roman army. And they were accustomed to, of course, a very warm and dry climate. And going to Germany in the middle of winter during the wet season, basically, was quite the change. And they talked about that, how they hated it, how they hated the environment, and how different it was from home, and how they only needed to finish this one last campaign, and then they could go home together. And they wrote how if one of them was slain in battle ever, wouldn't leave them behind. That ended up coming true. They both died in the Teutoburg Forest. Thousands of miles from home. Away from any loved ones they might have had. They would have been forgotten from history. If not for the little bit of garbage that the Roman legionaries had picked up and brought back to Rome. Their history was preserved with them. Not with their bodies, but with what they left behind. Free for you. Oops. My horse is gonna die to a cactus. Lots of battles, actually, were forgotten from history. For example, there was a battle in northern Germany between some ancient peoples. Very ancient peoples. Probably one of the oldest battle dig sites ever. And for a long time, nobody knew it was there. But not too long ago, in the grand scheme of things, there was a little kid that had found an iron sword in the riverbank as he was exploring, as little kids do, and discovered was not known at the time, battle sign. Right? They thought first it was just an iron sword, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But as they began to investigate, they began to discover that it was this ancient, a very, very ancient battle between two groups of people. We don't even know the names of the groups of people. We don't know why they fought. We don't know what it was about. We don't know who died. We don't know who won. And yet, we found all these bodies of people who had fought in the battle. We found their armor. We found their weapons. Whatever happened in the battle was pretty bloody, as battles go. And left behind quite a bit of debris. And what ended up happening is it was very likely that the battle happened in the river itself. That's why a lot of the bodies were never recovered. Normally, after big battles, we'll come and pick things up, take souvenirs or whatever, and this even happens in the modern day. Or the people who fought in the battle will come back for their dead to bury them. Humans have been burying bodies for longer than we've recorded history. So oftentimes we'd go back or people would go back to reclaim the dead. But this never happened for whatever reason. Again, maybe it was because there was a terrible accident. Maybe, both of these groups of people were eradicated in a further battle. Maybe the fighting was so bad that nobody was able to go back and get the bodies, etc., etc. But whatever the case, these people were left here in the mud, in the water, covered in soot very quickly. That might have actually been the cause of it, because they were fighting at the delta, the river's edge, right, where it exits into, where it used to exit into, I think it was the North Sea above Germany. There was no way for anyone to get the bodies, because very certainly after they died, they were buried by the water's sediment, covered in soil. Actually, how dinosaurs were very likely buried, the ones that we were attacked anyway, quickly covered by sediment from water or whatever, so that they couldn't be picked by predators or destroyed in any way, preserved immediately as they were. And that's what happened to these people. Again, we don't know why they fought this battle. We don't know what they died for. We don't know who won. We don't even know the groups of people that were involved. All we know is the battle happened because of the evidence left behind. The story is told for what remains. Isn't that remarkable? We're going to move all this junk back here. I've been doing it the entire time I'm talking. But because it's in the way, and I want to make this area pretty, and being pretty does not involve chests along the wall in the way. How long have we been streaming for? Oh, Mo joined my Discord. Thank you, Mo. I don't know if you're still here, but appreciate it. I had to double check my phone. I've been streaming for a long time, and I need to make sure that I'm paying attention to events that are going around me because I could have had to leave at any moment, you know. Here. But any whoosies. History is told by what remains, right? Not necessarily like there's the famous saying that history is told by the victor. It's not. It's told by who remains. Right? In lots of cases, it's not told by anyone. At all. Think of something catastrophic happened to the whole Earth, and humans were just deleted. Oops, we're gone. And then some alien archaeologist came to our planet. How would they interpret our bones? What would they know we look like? Or just our bones? They would be really lucky with humans, because humans have our skin's pretty tight to our chest. Like a lot of other creatures that are pretty fatty. Might not be too hard to construct us, but our chest cavity, our facial structures might be hard for like the alien civilization to determine what we looked like. Might look like some weird horror monster. Sunken faces. Or maybe not like anything at all. It wouldn't take very long in the course of history, or what remains after we're gone, for all the evidence of our existence to be deleted forever. Everything is washed away eventually, including all of history. Destroyed, evaporated, nothing lasts forever. Including everything we leave behind. So eventually, most of the stories, like the archaeology stuff I'm talking about right now, that'll be gone too. Our planet recycles its surface through the mantle every couple billion years. Or maybe even every couple million years, depending on where you are. And you know, once it goes under the mantle, it basically cooks it up again. Turns it all together, and whatever remains of us is turned into rock. Or, you know, the plants on the surface of the earth could rip apart our structures we've built. Wind and rain could erode everything we've left behind. Essentially, we could be cleaned off the face of the planet, you know? Or if we're unlucky to encounter something like a Death Star, then we're in real trouble. Entire planet evaporated. Of course, don't run away. A bit depressing, isn't it? But as I said, that's the story of life, quite literally. It originally started. Can you believe it? Originally started in me talking about music. Easy. Music is what really defines our experiences in the long term, because it's always been a way for humans to tell stories that are difficult to explain with words. Okay? Native peoples dancing around the fire kind of thing. Not necessarily that it happens that way, but that's what has happened. What was that? Why was my horse taking damage? But anyway, music is an excellent way to tell these stories because it lasts for so long. Unlike language, which changes. Like, our language will change. Changes all the time, you know? Often hear people complain about modern slang. That's just an inevitability. Language is constantly evolving, growing into something new. Yes, I got some. And eventually it becomes unrecognizable. Right? Even if you try to read English from like 400 years ago, which is a long time, don't get me wrong, but not a long time in the grand scale of human history, it would be really hard to understand it. Go back even further, and you probably couldn't understand it at all. And they wouldn't be able to understand you if you were somehow time traveling back into that era of human history. It's just so long ago. And the language has changed so much. And it will continue happening. Perpetuity. People living today will morph words, change words, better suit their needs of today, right? Like, oh, I have a great example. There's languages can be considered dead when they're no longer evolving. Like Latin. There is no word in Latin for computer or keyboard or mouse. There have been people who have made those words up, right, using some clues for the language. But those aren't actually words from the language. There is no word for those things in Latin as it is, or as it was hundreds of years ago, which is as it is today. Latin has been preserved thanks to the Roman Catholic Church in sort of a pause state that has existed for several hundred years. A while ago, they tried to revert it back to how it existed a long time ago. So it changed. It morphed into something else. A dead language. A language that ceases to evolve like other languages. So, new words stop forming. Because as time moves forward and things change, new words do need to be developed, like computer, keyboard, or mechanical keyboard, or thermodynamics. These words didn't exist when the language did, because someone didn't snap their fingers and make the language. It evolved over time. Weird grunts and noises, eventually convalescing to something that we can all understand in a vague sense. And it continues to grow, continues to evolve as more words are needed and added to the collection, like eat and selfie and dab and all sorts of things. Like, or even my favorite word, cheese, that didn't exist originally. It always existed. So languages, way back when cheese first was a thing, didn't need a word for cheese. Or what about mathematics? Oh, a great one is the number 0. Most languages didn't have a number 0 for most of history. Why would they need a 0? You don't need to talk about nothing. If you need to talk about nothing, you say nothing, right? You don't need a number for it. Latin doesn't have a number for 0. The Arabic numerals do, which really didn't come from Arabia. They came from India. Modern numbers we use today. Those numbers, those are Arabic numerals. And you see the last one is a 0. Nobody needed a 0 for basic transactions. No. You pay me nothing, I'll give you nothing. Not a very good transaction, yeah? So 0 had to be invented. The word had to be created. The number, the symbol that represents it, had to be used for the very first time. And then because of its usefulness, it caught on. It grew, expanded. And the same thing will happen to all the words in English. Or all the words in any language, no matter how we try to preserve them today as they were. Things will change. People will use words in different ways. Just life. That means it's going to be really hard for, I don't know, if you had recorded what I'm saying right now, permanently, or semi-permanently, for people to understand what I'm saying, and or interpret it in a way that is meaningful to them. But with music, because music doesn't have words, it doesn't rely on language, it can communicate thoughts and ideas without losing too much of its meaning over time. The problem, of course, is that music is largely up to interpretation, right? It's easy to interpret music in one way or another, but the meaning of it can exist beyond the language. That's why you often, like, people are fans of, like, K-pop or whatever, even though they may be singing in Korean. Listeners may not know what Korean is or how to speak Korean. People still enjoy the music. Transcends language boundaries. Transcends time. I think this is the last of my junk over here, other than the stuff in shulker boxes and in the big storage system to my left. Which means We're actually really close to being able to do something with this area. Gotta make sure I kept all my tools. Did I lose anything? Bow, sword, pickaxe, axe, shovel. Got my armor on, right? Yep. And look at that. I saved on food because I was running around doing all that. Next thing we gotta move is things. Bit of a hassle, but... And we'll move this chest to it. And this anvil. Chest. Chesticles. Anyway, that's why I think stories are really valuable. All that storytelling. Just to say story. And I think that's why they're worth telling. Even the silly ones. Even the fantastical ones. And especially the serious ones. Because they communicate ideas through time. They help you describe things. They help you share ideas. No, share feelings. Keep that food, yeah. I like reading books or watching movies. Because their value is not necessarily in exactly what they're trying to tell you, but in the way they try to tell you it. At least to me. Through the music, through art, words. Movies are really great for that as well. Because they're so visual. Humans are very visual. We as creatures are very visual. How we interpret the world. Our eye is really important for us. Second most important is probably our ears, and third, our sense of smell. Or least important is our sense of taste. And secondly, are probably our sense of feeling. Like touch. We have other senses as well, but 5 main ones are pretty standard. But that's why we have words for like those who cannot see or those who cannot hear, the deaf and the blind. Because those things aren't so important to our everyday function. Most people could exist perfectly fine without it. But it's very important to most people to be able to see and hear. And living without those things requires a lot of effort. And that's why it's something like a movie, video game like right now, to be so visually telling. It quite literally is visual. Taps into one of our most important senses, our sense of sight. They can tell stories without uttering a word or even making a noise. Where music relies on much of our sense of hearing. Some mediums can tell stories just through what you see. Okay? Without saying a word. Or uttering a sound. And movies are great for that. Absolutely phenomenal. Or video games. Because they rely so heavily on your eyes. Tell that story. We live every day through our eyes. Literally. Set up aside and eats beans? I haven't seen you in forever, bud. How are you doing? I need to remember to put my crafty bitches down. I have stored them away in a squirrel hole somewhere over here. But visual storytelling is such an amazing medium. You can do so much with it, and it's so weird to me, right? A really good example, actually, I think, is WALL-E. An old Pixar movie now. It's fortunately an old Pixar movie now. A really good one, though. About, robots. They don't speak English. They have to communicate through noises or beeps. Or a lot of times, they communicate to the audience, because it's a movie after all, through their actions, through what they do. Like, in the first couple minutes of WALL-E, the little garbage compactor robot is running around the world, making friends with the little cockroach, and collecting items, and compacting garbage. And without saying a single word, or really without much noise at all either, it's visually telling you exactly what you need to know about him. He's a little garbage compacting robot, and he's more human than he looks. He has feelings and thoughts and ideas, and because he dances to music and stuff, or he plays his music as he's rolling around. Surprised you remember me. I remember a lot of things. I never forget, except for all the times I do. We're talking about stories today, and also and I need to fill in some carpets so we don't get any slime spawning. I won't do it while I'm here, but as soon as I run away, or I vacate the area, or log out, or whatever, they'll start spawning again. They're mean like that. Slime. Slithering around. But like I said, visual storytelling is really being able to tell stories just through what you show on screen, or whatever. Super amazing, and it's well, I guess relatively new compared to lots of other types of storytelling. Like books have been around forever. Well, not forever actually. There was a time when people said, "Oh, those books, they're ruining the youth." I'll never understand what it was like back in the day when you had to read off of papyrus scrolls. Tell stories through learned experiences outside. That's those kind of silly opinions. But yeah, books have not always existed. But they're a very old way of telling stories through your imagination, through written text. But even written text, you usually have to read with your eyes. There is Braille, of course, which you read through your sense of touch. But visual storytelling is a thing of its own. It's so foreign. It's so strange. So intriguing. Beautiful in a way. Like telling a story through, I guess you could say, my Minecraft skin. Not a very complicated story, but it's the story of MrFearless, right? That horse is going to walk off the edge, probably. But if we look, one of these things tells us a story without even saying anything. Interpret what's going on or what it's trying to say. Like this skin. Or this one, which is the exact opposite. Or this one. A villager disguised as MrFearless. Or MrFearless disguised as a villager. This one's even better. Got a little nose. Or this one, where I'm impersonating different people. Or this one's a wither or whatever. Yeah. First fall off the edge. Of course you did. I knew it. Probably put my armor back on. Wouldn't want to get in a tight situation where I end up getting mauled by monsters. Cleared out most of this area. We'll read these shulker boxes. Then we have this entire area to play with, finally. Put anything we like here. What do you think? What have you been up to beside Neats Beans if you're still here? Insert button. Look at that. Still have that link. Yeah. More. Today has been a long day. We've been streaming for a long time. 2 hours, 54 minutes. Well, I mean, that's not a long time. I've streamed for like 14 hours before. Move to Java. Java the place or Java the game is in Minecraft? Are you telling me you abandoned Bedrock? How could you? How could you do that to the best rock? The game? Oh, I see. So you abandoned the best rock? How could you? How could you abandon Minecraft Bedrock? Most valuable and the bestest Minecraft that there is. The version of Minecraft we all value. Most of all, because it's got Bedrock in its name. Which means it's the best rock. I might put some windows right there. It'll show into the staircase, but it might look nice for the staircase. Try to look at different things we could do for the house. Adding some more windows won't be bad. We also need to add some more decorations, I think. This side of the house is very plain. You like Bedrock, though? As long as you still like Bedrock, you know. I thought you were abandoned us completely. Left us in the dust. But join playing multiplayer? I was talking about earlier how I always say that. I was talking about earlier. I talk about lots of things. But I was talking about earlier how I really enjoy multiplayer on Minecraft. It's one of my favorite aspects of the game. Getting to play with other people and enjoy worlds with other people is really fun. That's why I played, well, Bedrock. So my friends play it. I need red wool. I don't know if I'm going to... You know what? There is red wool. And we're on a horse, so we don't have to worry about breaking my elytra or falling out of the sky or starving to death, even though I'm starting to take hunger damage. I mean, well, hunger haunch damage. Because we have a wool farm right over here. Not too far away. And I just realized I've been in Discord the entire time. I don't know if anyone joined me. Someone could have been in a voice chat with me and I would have never noticed. Grab some red wool. Only 5? You've not been very productive, little buddy. It's me! The horse, it's me. We're gonna have to make our own wool farm. Or AFK that one. Wait, I know why it's not working. Ran out of shears, hasn't it? Farm is so old. No one's replaced the shears. Nope, it still has shears. It's just slow. Not a very efficient wool farm. I can't believe those still have shears. Someone has to have been replacing them. Got 5 red wool. We should be able to put a little bit in the carpet. Oh, what is it? Wait, I already have my horse here? We're gonna put this horse over there. At my other place. And we'll come back for lampshade. I know I was saying that Java is the guava, which is the worst. But Java is not that bad. And in fact, it's a really important version of Minecraft because it was the first. Started it all. Also where most of the people who make contact on the gameplay. And it has pretty impressive modding capabilities simply because of how old it is and how much people have put in progress into it. But Bedrock is slowly catching up. As more people mod the game, we'll have some really cool mods too. Maybe someday we'll be comparable in versions. Maybe someday both versions will get to play together. Live in harmony, happily ever after. Maybe. Another thing about horses is you can keep eating while it's running. Because you don't need to feed the horse unless it's taking damage. But even then, it will heal slowly over time. park this fella in one of the stables over here. Most of these stables have an animal in them. Fine. We'll have a couple horses here for when I need one. We can hop, skip, and jump on our way back. Stories are amazing. We leave them behind everywhere we go. Every person we interact with, we leave a story behind. Story of who we were. At least to some other one else. Oh, you can't play Mac Bedrock on Mac, of course. Because everyone knows Bedrock and mac and cheese is a mix very well. Bedrock only works well against Windows. You throw it out the window. You know? When you try to throw it at mac and cheese, the mac and cheese absorbs the blow. Because mac and cheese is just so amazing. Quite the catastrophe. I was still in the water because I wasn't looking. Good thing Minecraft is a driving simulator. Yeah, the only way, if you have a Mac computer, the only way you could play Bedrock is on your phone. Or on another computer. Or you could emulate Windows inside of a Mac computer. But that sounds like a lot of work. Hello, little dog. It's weird that dogs spawn everywhere now. They only used to spawn in taiga biomes. You know what's even weirder still? Minecraft now has, like, several variations of cats. But no variations of dogs. There's only one doggo, and it's a wolf. Not even a real dog. You missed your Discord notifications now. It's all good. You'll have to play on your phone or console. That's something else you can play on this console. I always forget about that. I think Darksaber plays on the PS5 for Minecraft. It also gets the benefit of having that's what the PS5 is. You could dye you could dye cat colors. I have a cat upstairs in blue juice. We could dye its color. Well, to dye it back blue again, but I'm not cutting out when I get quiet, am I? Yes. Hear me. Get Oxide Daisy dye. That's like gray, right? Here's squishy noises. You did miss a word time though. Hygiene. It's okay. I'll throw this as a VOD if you want to watch the 3-hour stream. Discord, yes. If you like what you see here, feel free to join my Discord. Where I put notifications where I go live. If you don't trust. I literally walked past the cat and then ran outside the front door. This is actually my oldest pet on SlackVille, I think. Right here. Blue juice. Oh, him. You know, I probably will. Yeah, I've started uploading my streams to YouTube. I do have a YouTube account for my Twitch streams. Because they only last 2 weeks on here. And, you know, if Twitch ever gets angry, I'll delete all my VODs anyway, so. I've started uploading the last 2 streams I had last week. Including the late April Fool's Day stream. But if we look, you can see it's got a blue color. Now it's got a gray color. It looks like its neck. It's got a blue color again. So you can dye cat colors. And there's also variations of cats. There's so many variations of cats that I actually have an extra special one. Special variation of a cat. We go in here. This is thanks to Metsboy. I don't know if Metsboy's here in the stream. He's missing Cheesy Tuesdays. He missed the last couple Cheesy. I'm missing him. We go up here in my weird palace thing. Over the floor that doesn't exist. And into my bedroom. You can see I got a baby cat. My cat looks like a real life translated to Minecraft. It's actually pretty cute. Aren't you? Aren't you the cutest little baby, huh? If I name a cat with a baby tag, it always looks like that. But that's just further proof that there's way more skins for cats than dogs, right? It might be harder for dogs because there's so many. It would be nice if there are more dogs. What if you had Labradors or something? Or German Shepherds, or... Have you? Yeah. The thing is that cats really aren't like dogs. You might be like, wow, Fearless. Such insightful commentary. You are quite the genius for noticing two different animals are nothing like. But they're a lot more different than most other animals that humans surround themselves with, like sheep, cows, and pigs, and horses. In that, we have forcibly bred different traits into dogs and sheep and pigs and goats and all of them. So they're way different from what they used to be, thanks to human intervention. Thank you for posting all that. I did have a late April Fool's Day. You guys might have missed it. And a late April Fool's Day video. You want a cheesy joke? Are you sure? But if you really want one, there was one redeemed earlier, so I'll give two. How do you know if a cheese is full of himself? Whatever you say, he'll say is feta. Better than you. And I'll give one more since there was one redeemed earlier. What did one cheese tell the other cheese on Valentine's Day? Will you be mine? Told you they're dangerous. Thanos snapped the entire universe, and then Thanos snapped it again. In a blink of an eye. But yeah, I was gonna say that we have humans have very selectively bred dogs, so they have different breeds. Very distinct breeds. They're small, some are big. Tall, some are fat, some have squished faces. They're not good for them. But they're all very different. Cats, on the other hand, are all very similarly sized and shaped, for the most part. Breed them. They kind of do their own thing. Cats sort of just wandered into the human home one day, and we kept them because they're cute. They have developed habits and behaviors that are much different from other cats. Some things we call neoteny, which is the same thing axolotls actually have. Axolotls never really grow up. They don't ever hit the final stage of life naturally. But the same thing that happens with cats, actually. Cats, domestic cats anyway, raise their tail to be friendly. And that's usually the only thing that kittens do. Another species. To show their mother where they are. Cats also meow at humans. That's a learned behavior that other cat-like creatures don't do. Okay. Cats are, domestic cats are communal, where a lot of other cat species are not. Lots of other cat species are solitary. Exception of an exception would be like lions. So they develop a lot of these behaviors so that they can better integrate with humans. And a lot of cats, domestic cats anyway, are super friendly. You get them early. That's another behavior that they have sort of adapted. Not because we necessarily made them have those traits, but because that's what was best for them to survive. They're like phase 1 of becoming something like dogs. Right? That's why dogs are so well behaved as pets. Why they follow commands so well. It's why they tend to love you no matter what you do. Because they've been bred for it. Dogs. Over many, 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 many generations. The cats sort of used to do their own thing. And you're right, we kept them first because of critters. Love to eat little things. Cats, domestic cats, are one of the best hunters in the world. They have some of the highest success rates for their size. They've made entire species of animals extinct. Just by being cats. 90 billion critters die every year to just feral cats in the United States. 90 billion. And there is not that many cats, let me assure you. Way less than that. Way, way, way less than that. It's because they're such efficient hunters. They're very dangerous. Little fellas. That's why they all have similar body shapes. Right? I mean, some cats are huge compared to others. And some are hairless. That's not really that much variation when compared to dogs, where you have like dogs that can literally fit in someone's purse compared to a dog that's as big as a human. Like wolves are huge. The natural type wolves, wild, like gray wolves, just in the United States, are gargantuan. Like they are way bigger than you think they are. They'll go past a 6 foot tall human's legs in height. Right? They could like bite you in the middle of the chest. Or me, not very appealing. Think about they're really tall compared to like most other dogs. They're gargantuan in size. Dogs are just way smaller. Where's over here? I'm running around, jumping around. I can't remember. Put a saddle on like a mastiff. Yeah, they're really big, or really tiny, or lots of different shapes. You got pugs, you got poodles, have shepherds and greyhounds, short dogs, long dogs, fat dogs, wiener dogs, big dogs, small dogs, fat dogs, skinny dogs, in every shape and size. And that's because humans have done that to them, essentially. Again, compared to cats, who have very few variations, and they don't have breeds like dogs do, right? Like people always ask, "What's my cat's breed?" Have breeds. Even the fancy ones that say they have breeds really aren't breeds. They haven't existed as long as dog breeds have. That's not really how cats work. Get out of the lava. Might have burned to death. The corner over there. So it's a lot easier in Minecraft to make cat-shaped things with many different textures. A lot harder for that to do that for the dog. They'd have to be different sized creatures. All right, we got these cute little wolf things. Craft. They're actually way smaller than a wolf would be in real life. Like, yeah, they're like kind of tiny compared to like a wolf. Even though these are wolves, right? These aren't dogs. We treat them like dogs, and I think if you kill one, it would be called dog. Not don't do it. But I think it would say dog. But they're not. They're wolves. You tame them from wolves. Where the cats we get now in Minecraft are cats. Before they come from ocelots, which they wouldn't be cats, which is named ocelot. Now they are cats. They're for real cats, right? Dogs in Minecraft are wolves. So they all look like wolves. They're kind of tiny compared to actual wolves, but we don't have any variation on them because lots of dogs are way different sizes. Like I said, all the different sizes of dogs, and that'd be a lot harder to make into the game. And where would we get them? Where would you get dogs? Would they spawn in a village? Like cats do? Find them in a unique structure? But I just wish there were more of them. Dogs are man's best friend, after all. It would be nice if you had more to play with. I am running on thirsty here. Darksaber, are you here? Chat. Bye-bye, Poseidon. Eat some more beans. Today's been a long day. Long but cheesy day. Yeah, I was gonna check if I had my my other horse over here. Good old lampshade, and I wonder if we have an automatic mob killer on the server. I really need XP. Not well, I need XP explicitly. I have 148 levels. I don't need it for that. I need to repair my tools. Specifically my elytra. And there aren't many ways to get XP in a reliable way right now on the server. Mostly because we never needed to for the longest time, for years or so. Would be nice if we could get it in other simpler ways, but if I could find a dungeon and convert it, I know there's a bunch of dungeons. Actually, there's a spider spawner behind my house. Kind of pathetic. I could turn that into a very sad XP farm. I could build a guardian farm, but there's like 4 of them on the server. Might be overkill. And I don't know where a temple is that's unused. I know exactly what you're thinking of, because I was thinking of it as well. You know, the one on CourageCraft. 1 mile after Groove of Guys. But I think that would be a lot harder to build on here than I might like it to be. I know Mad Hatter said he was thinking about working on a XP farm of some kind, but such things aren't here yet. And I need XP in the relatively near future. So a small farm might be our next project. I did say that earlier as well. We might do a small little XP project. Because there is one drowned... It is a drowned farm, is actually. We'll see. Now, it doesn't work as nice as I would like it to. I might drown coming back up because it's not all water sources. Water sources end right there. I don't know why, but that's where they end. One. Huh? It broke? How we work looking, little farm. I hear them. Well, they might be converting to drowns. Yeah, I think it converts to drowns, and then you hit the button to something. So it does work, kind of. I won't mess with this one, I don't think, but... Oh, hi there. Shoot me. Lava, is that what that does? Maybe one time, a long time ago. It doesn't work now. Lava dispenser? Productive. Actually, I'm ridiculous. There is actually a clip of me on the on Twitch in this area a long time ago. Like the second clip on my channel, I think. I can't remember. With Gypsy and Jack and Slank and... Ape. I've trapped myself. But I wanted to do, look. That. Yep, that's a dispenser. I don't know what it's supposed to dispense. Maybe like harming potions or something? You know what? I think it was supposed to be harming potions. Think about it. But anyway. You could fix this one. I don't think that anyone ever, it was ever finished. No. Not that we ever needed one. But it could be a nice little project. Go up here and try not to drown. Thankfully, it doesn't go too far, so we don't have to worry too bad about that. If we go over here, there's another spawner, a spider spawner, behind my house. Moo. Run for the Meals on Wheels. Missing a door. You've been in there. Probably because it doesn't do on the inside. Over here in my forest, where were we telling the story earlier, actually? Is cobblestone. Oh, there it is. It goes down to one of the very first farms on the whole server. A very basic spider spawner, you could see. But we could repurpose this into a try to kill. No, you can't do that with spiders, can you? You drop them. Can you use a trident killer on spiders? Yeah, right? I don't play with spiders very often. I don't use any of the spawners, really, ever. After the beginning of the game, when I only mess with them a little bit. Back when I used to mess with these a long time ago, trident killers weren't really a thing, as you could probably tell by the fact this doesn't have one. No, it's a regular spider. Regular spider spawner. Look. Spiders, or the big spider spinning around on the inside. Nah, it's not just cave spiders, so we should be good. I don't play with the dungeons very often. Spawner things. I know T-Man said that the zombie spawners spawn zombie villagers, which I didn't know. I don't use them. So I guess those kind of have a use, but I know they don't spawn zombie villagers on Java. Other than that, I can't imagine really many uses for those things. Some XP if you really need it, which is kind of how I am right now with my... Got it. It'll be a fun project. They're practically everywhere in the world, and we have 3 of them. We have one of every one that spawns in the overworld, other than the cave spawner in this area, right? We have the skeleton, the zombie, and a spider. That's actually kind of interesting. Think about it. We have all 3 of the classic dungeon spawners. The trifecta. It's a Maribel Jade. Hello. How are we doing today? You went live earlier while I was in class. So I heard you at the zoo. It's true? Yeah, we could renovate some of these spawner things here. Turn them into a low-class XP farm. This one, the spider farm would be really easy. All I need to build is a trident killer, which is... I have like a billion tridents anyway. I moved a bunch of them last night. Or, not last night. Less than an hour ago. But the one over here is going to be a little bit harder. First of all, it's in the road. It wasn't in the road originally. Because the road stopped literally at its front door. Yeah. Road literally walked up to it because the road ended here a long time ago. And it went that way. Be way harder to retrofit because it's got a lot of its existing redstone. I have to look at it and see what it does. I think it's broke. I mean, obviously the mobs come here, but like for example, the drought were still coming, or the zombies were still coming even on. I think that just adds a light over there to prevent them from spawning, but I think they might still be spawning when we become... Or like this actually. Light is on. When is lights off? I don't know. I have to look. Trade for... Yeah, I could trade for villagers for XP. Yeah. Not wrong. But Jade killed all our villagers. And slew them all. Not a one survived. I think there should be a creeper of tree bush. Those little creepers eventually fall off the vine and chase you around. Cabbage here. There'd be all kinds of libraries. Or librarians? I thought you killed them all. Last time I went to your little village area, they were, you know... Like one of those Wild West movies where the bad guy comes into town and everyone hides inside their houses. I couldn't find anyone. Let me get my horse. That's the classic way to travel to Jade's village. The OG Jade build. The thing that she started doing, I think, when she started streaming, actually. Way before the Hogwarts or TB was the Jade Village. They are still there. You're right, Fond. We could go there. That's what I was thinking. Oh, well, I was thinking, originally, I would sure like some books to round out my book collection. Because I want to collect every book in the game, and I also wanted to make a second set of armor, because I don't have... I did have one, but I died. I had to use that one, which is what I'm wearing right now. I would like a second set of armor. The librarians are still there? You're building other buildings? Oh, are they still there? But aren't they all in, like, separate buildings? Are you still there? Sort of reminded me of Portal. Are you still there? Cat? Why do you have cats and boats? You look at that. It's so much easier to make cat skins. Oh, maybe they're in here. Guys, I think I found the villagers. Why'd you leave the door open? Who left the door open? Did that? Like lizard beds. I do have a bunch of cheesemakers stashed underground. I'm starting to remember where all the villagers are. My first thought was here. I want to get a bunch of books. I could do 2 birds with 1 stone. Get some XP. Get some books. Make some armor. We got to rebuild our efforts here in SlackVille. We're slanking, for a lack of a better term. I'm on backup gear, right? None of my pickaxes are named. The armor's named either. Yeah, normally I have names for all that. I did, but then I died. And a gas blew up my stuff, so. So, it's really hard to, anything serious with all the backup armor or other stuff. So I think we have some projects to do. Some little things that we could do here and there, like collecting armor. I would like to collect one of every piece of edible things in the game. No, the backup pick is not called Oopsie, because it's called Oopsie on CourageCraft. I broke my pickaxe on CourageCraft, and you gave me another pick called Oopsie. Cross here. We'll go back. They're right there, though. That's where the villagers are. Pond is right. They're over there. And then I do have the ones hiding underneath my mountain. And you know what, actually? We may be able to skip Jade's village after all. Because I think Cbones Cbones is a new member of the server as well. He has every villager you could ever imagine here, just like he has on every server. He did that on his first day here. Sneak past all of these pillager fellas. Hopefully not fall into any pits of doom. And across the bridge over here. Some cheese villagers. I do need more cheese. Right. What else we need to do? Got lots of things to do. Tackle them one at a time, though. In whatever order I decide is fun. We gotta get a dolphin. Hey, do you want to watch me find a dolphin? I'll bring back 4 and see if they all make it alive. I mean, they will, definitely. Nothing bad's ever happened to any dolphins I've brought across the server, but we'll see. Got these guys up here. You give XP, right? And their trades are refreshing. Yeah. Got those villagers. There and there. I think only those give mozzarella, though. These guys do. I think some of them do, but it's just random, whatever they give. Ricotta or something. Ricotta. Yeah. Or maybe they all do give mozzarella. Let's check. They do. Okay. Because it's a 50% chance, though. I mean, with every villager, technically, it's a 50% chance whether they'll give you mozzarella as their last trade or ricotta or something. I can't remember what the trade is. It's quartz pillar, actually. They'll give you either quartz or quartz pillar as their last trade. And I think these guys were all specifically bred up so that they will always give trade. Yep. All these guys give mozzarella. So we're going to have to be doing some mozzarella trading as well. Trading for a little bit of everything. Maybe we could use that as our substitute for XP. Yep, the redoing the little farms that spawn. We could always save that for later if we want to do it for fun. But if we have XP from that, I shouldn't have to worry about my my elytra, because whenever my elytra goes down, I can go and trade for quartz or mozzarella, as it's called. Everyone knows it's mozzarella. And we can run around and do all that. I gotta check my phone again because it's not time for me to run away. Not yet. But we're going to be flying around. I'm going to need rockets. I did notice that I had a bunch of rockets over here. I also want to finish my bridge here. Not with any of the blocks I have right now, because they're flammable. It'd be nice not to have to jump in my lava river every time. Got lots of projects. And I'm excited to turn this into a series on YouTube. I think it'd be fun to go through the world and maybe give an exploration of what's here already, and then start from there. A soft reboot of SlackVille. SlackVille Season 2, kind of. Talk to Blizzard about that. And Hatter. What sounds best. What's okay. And then we could get to making some progress on this. One of the things we actually need to do is move this whole entire thing. One of the reasons I never really worked on the maze, other than outlining it, never happy with the position of it. It's way too close to the building. And by that, I mean, it's really hard to notice like all the pretty details of the building when you're walking in front of it. So I want this moved back. Really admire the hotel. Yes. You push this back, or that back. We'll have more room here, but my one concern is we're gonna run out of room on the other side. Because I want to put another building mirroring this on the other side. And of course, the farther this goes back, the farther that's going to go back. Twice as far, actually. Every block that this maze moves, In order to mirror the same amount of space, it's to move back 2 more blocks. No. I wanted to just put Tartarus over here. We're gonna have the Elysium Hotel and a Tartarus, which is gonna be a destroyed prison with giant monsters pulling out of it. Over here, I think. I was trying to think where it's gonna be. Like, I should probably get my rockets so we can fly up. It would be a lot easier to tell where it's going to be from up high. But it's going to be right here, and then the lava river is going to be intersecting a little bit. That was the plan anyway, originally. I want the lava to flow into the bottomless pits of our Tartarus. Tell it. The beautiful build. Should have rockets in here. Store all the extra stuff for now down there. Now, if we take off, an aerial view of our little area here. This is the Elysium Hotel. It's going to end up right there, I think. It's actually a pretty big building. Pretty big for a building that's player-sized. There are definitely much bigger buildings or projects that are bigger than players. Where you like live in the floorboards, like Snack's Hut. But this is a really big player-sized building. All the rooms are player-sized. All the different tiers are player-sized. So it's going to go here. Oh, the mozzarella floor. I'm going to move the maze this way. If we go up higher, you can actually see the problem I've always had. That's this lake and the space here. The further we move back, the less room that the Tartarus is going to have until it, like, over this lava river. But I think we might be able to hide that by having the corners, like, cut off literally by the river. The river is, like, cut through Tartarus. Really showing how much of a hellscape it is. We'll move the whole maze that way. I don't know how many blocks. 5 to 10 blocks at least, I think. I want to be able to walk down this way. Here. In front of the hotel. And to be able to turn to the left and see the hotel as it is. Look. And really see the front facade. No. Look as we glide by. And right about here. So much easier to see the front of the building. Because I'm going to have to put like things up there as well. Decorate the top. You really take in the whole building. Much better from that distance. Than from right here. Where like the second floor is obscuring it, and the first floor, the top is being obscured by the pillars. Just so much easier to see what it actually looks like. Of course, this is the maze, so you're not going to be able to walk around in here as you please. So I would rather this be pulled back. And then right about to there. Or so. We'll have the main pathway past the building. Goes up to the volcano. And that'll actually be centered better in the volcano as well. They'd be like walking straight towards it. There'll be a path going around the maze. Or volcano. And past it. Over to Tartarus. It'll be a lot of fun. It requires a lot of dedication and a lot of effort. Big projects are never easy. Well, that's what makes them so fun. why I've enjoyed working on this a little bit here and there, but I really want to ramp it up. Put it in overdrive, so to speak. Spend some more time on what? That. Did you guys see that? Where's your teleport? Really put the time to this to make it shine. Worthy of being called a mega base, yeah? Favorite Minecraft songs. A nice one. This might be where I end the stream. It's getting late. I don't technically have to go right now, but really, really late, and I'm tired. I've run out of things to talk about, which is never good for a MrFearless stream. And I have been streaming for 3 hours, 41 minutes. So. It's a good place to cut it for now. Place to find a stand so I don't die. I also want to see if my horse is in his right spot. Perfect. What a great stream today. I did not expect the Genfire raid. I really do appreciate that. I know Genfire is probably not here anymore. You guys go check her out. Her channel anyway. It's amazing. Does a lot of streams. Been doing YouTube now with Slack for quite some time. Remember SlackVille? Fairly amazing. Of course, there's the Slack Lizard himself. None of this would be possible without him. I certainly wouldn't be streaming as often as I do. At all, really. Wasn't out for support like. And of course, there's the people like you guys. And it's gonna go into the end screen perfectly, flawlessly. It's not to work. Not gonna work today. Rude. Donor 1, donor 2. Thank you. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I could say shout out to people who followed and stuff today. We didn't have any subscriptions, but we did have the raid from Jen, of course, and follows from Mob Slayer, Mo, and ooh. Really do appreciate it, guys. As well as the moderators. You guys help keep the stream safe. And I'll see you all tomorrow. We're going to raid Toasty today. Toasty's pretty cool. He hangs out the stream quite frequently. We're going to send him hashtag fearless raid. Better hide your cheese. Oh, that's next to my shopping list. Who broke the credits? I don't know what happened to the credits. I have no idea. Streamlabs is what I run it through. It's been acting funny. Does it keep saying donor and stuff? Yeah. I don't know what happened. That's the test one. It does. Yeah, it just keeps saying toast. I don't know what's up. Blame Jeff, exactly. Blame Jeff. Remember to tell him behind your cheese, it's a MrFearless raid. Hashtag fearless. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye, Jade. Jade Angel. I have one of those too. Hey, Jade Angel.